28 yuan for oil, plus soy sauce, salt, soap, and other supplies. Then there's the cost of coal. We need 125 yuan for honeycomb coal each month, plus delivery, which adds another 4.5 yuan. Electricity costs around 2 yuan a month, and water is about the same. All these fixed expenses add up to about 30 yuan a month. Do you think we don't need to buy meat? The kids don't need to go to school? They don't need clothes and shoes? Our food supply isn't enough, and you still want to show off by inviting colleagues over for meals. Do you think big men eat little? You have no idea how much high-priced grain I've secretly bought. Every time they come over, I serve them good food and drinks for your pride. Doesn't that cost money? You only get 6 jin of meat tickets a month. Don't tell me you don't know that the meat is bought at high prices from outside. Just last month, you invited colleagues over 3 times. Just for those meals, I spent over 10 yuan on drinks and meat. Do you think I'm a fairy who can conjure things without spending money? Tell me, after all these expenses, how much can I save each month? Wang Suimei's outburst left Zheng Guoxing feeling embarrassed and angry, and he shouted, "Ignorant woman! I'm inviting colleagues over for meals to build good relationships for future promotions. I'm thinking of us, and you see it as just showing off?" Wang Suimei scoffed. "I haven't seen the neighbor, Colonel Liu, invite anyone over, and he's still getting promoted. In my opinion, you waste too much time on these things. You should focus on your work." Zhang Guosheng was hit where it hurt by someone he looked down on and blurted out, "That's because he has good children. If you could have children like that, I would have been promoted long ago." Enin and Lele were in the yard practicing with a slingshot. To be precise, Lele was practicing while Enin was giving him guidance. Zheng Guosheng and Wang Suimei were arguing loudly, so the 2 kids could hear everything clearly. When Lele heard someone speak poorly of his father, he immediately protested. He climbed up the wall and shouted, "Uncle Zheng, my dad is really great. He got promoted because of his own hard work, not because of anyone else." Su Mo had already shared the news about Liu Chongjing's promotion on the day she received her salary. Upon hearing Lele's shout, Zhang Guoxing's face twisted in embarrassment and anger. He felt humiliated today. It was bad enough to have an argument overheard, but now he was being challenged by a child. He worried whether this little brat would tell Commander Su about it. He also wondered how the neighbors were raising their kids, as this little one was eavesdropping instead of learning good behavior. Wang Suimei quickly went outside and smiled at Lele, saying, "Lele, I'm sorry. Your Uncle Zheng lost the argument with your aunt and said something wrong in the heat of the moment." Although old Zheng had his faults, he was still the children's father, and Wang Suimei didn't want him to offend anyone, especially since he had a future, which would also benefit the children's future. Lele replied with an "oh," climbed down from the wall, and went back to practicing. Even though Lele was smart, he was still a child. Hearing someone speak badly of his parents made him want to defend them, but soon he moved on. When Wang Suimei returned inside, Zhang Guoxing angrily said, "You should have less contact with the neighbors from now on." Wang Suimei scoffed, "Sumo's family is really nice. I want to interact with them more to improve myself." Zhang Guoxing was furious. This woman was really pushing it, but he couldn't argue back at the moment, fearing someone might overhear again. He just grabbed his briefcase, turned, and left to sleep in the barracks where he usually stayed. Once Zheng Guoxing was gone, Wang Suimei ignored him and called the children over for dinner. Her eldest son, Zheng Hongbing, looked at the food on the table with a frown and asked, "Mom, are we only going to eat sweet potatoes from now on?" Wang Suimei scolded, "What's wrong with sweet potatoes? When I was a child, I didn't even have sweet potatoes to eat. I had to eat grass roots." These kids were really spoiled. When she was young, having sweet potatoes was a big deal. Most of the time, she ate wild vegetable porridge, which was bitter and astringent. At least sweet potatoes were sweet. White rice and flour were treats only available during the New Year, unlike these 3 kids who could eat rice almost every day. Wang Suimei decided it was a good time to teach the kids a lesson about appreciating their food. At the same time, she planned to fight for a job. She was tired of living off her husband. Back in the countryside, she could earn work points to support herself, but since moving with the army, she relied entirely on old Zheng, which made her feel weak. If she were like Su Mo, earning her own salary. Old Jung wouldn't dare raise his voice at her. The next day, Wang Suimei went to the logistics department to inquire about job opportunities. The staff there were also in a difficult position. There were limited job openings, and someone like Wang Suimei, with little education, could only be placed in the cafeteria. However, the cafeteria was already overstaffed, and adding more people would make it a joke. Wang Suimei, there are currently no job openings. If there are no openings, then why can others get jobs? Wang Suimei listed several names of people who had joined the army in the last few years. Wang Suimei, those people were transferred here and already had jobs at their previous locations. The implication was that she had never had a job, so those with jobs would be prioritized. What about Colonel Lu's sister? She's not a spouse, yet she got transferred? Wang Suimei argued. The staff checked the records and replied, Colonel Lu's sister used his wife's transfer quota. His wife is capable and found a job outside, so she gave her quota to her sister. Wang Suimei had no response and returned home feeling disappointed. If the army wouldn't arrange a job for her, how could she find work on her own? She heard that finding a job in the city was very difficult, as many city kids had gone to the countryside after graduation. As she walked, she saw the vendors she usually bought from, openly trading on the roadside, unlike before, when they had to be discreet. After the buyer left, Wang Suimei hurried over. Xiao Huang, why are you so bold? You're right on the roadside now. The young man, Xiao Huang, smiled and replied in Cantonese, Sister Wang, it's been a while since you bought from me. What do you want today? He opened his basket to show her the contents, which included several pieces of pork, many eggs, and half a bag of rice. Wang Suimei pulled him aside. Xiao Huang, aren't you afraid of getting caught? Sister Wang, the situation is different now. I heard that the authorities aren't monitoring this anymore. My friend tried it, and now when he goes to the factory housing areas, no one stops him, Xiao Huang explained. Really? They aren't monitoring anymore? It seems they aren't. I've been coming to the roadside for the last few days, and no one has bothered me. Before, the committee would have come to catch people already. Still, be careful. You don't want to get caught, Wang Suimei warned. I know, thank you, Sister Wang. After their conversation, Wang Suimei was about to leave when Xiao Huang called out, Sister Wang, the meat is really fresh today. Don't you want to buy some? Wang Suimei waved her hand. No, I can't. Then suddenly paused and pulled Xiao Huang to a more hidden spot. Xiao Huang, I want to ask you something. How much can you earn in a month doing this? Xiao Huang chuckled but didn't answer. He could easily make over 100 yuan a month, which was much better than many office workers. Xiao Huang, after all the things I've bought from you, you can't even tell me this? Wang Suimei was getting anxious. Sister Wang, it's not stable. The more you sell, the more you earn. Can you make about 30 in a month? Xiao Huang nodded. That's possible. Wang Suimei's mind started racing. The army might take a while to arrange a job for her. Maybe she could work with Xiao Huang. If she went to a different area, she wouldn't run into anyone she knew. She hadn't dared to before, fearing it would affect Old Jung, but now she didn't care. As long as she was careful not to be seen by anyone from the compound, she would be fine. Xiao Huang, I have a request. I want to work with you. Can you help me get started? Xiao Huang was shocked. What had happened to this officer's wife? Why was she wanting to learn how to be a vendor? Wang Jia, don't joke around. This isn't suitable for you. Why isn't it suitable? I'm not afraid of hard work. Xiao Huang smirked. It wasn't just about hard work, it was about status. She was a military officer's wife, and if he dared to take her to a place to get supplies, the boss would surely be angry with him. Moreover, he wasn't sure if Wang Jia really wanted to be a middleman or if she had other motives. He didn't want her to find out their base and lead troops to wipe them out. These middlemen usually avoided dealing with the families of officials. They rarely interacted with them, but Wang Jia was warm and supportive, so he talked to her a bit more. Seeing Xiao Huang's reluctance, Wang Suimei wanted to continue persuading him, but suddenly had a bright idea. Xiao Huang, how about I get supplies from you and you give me a discount? She planned to start small and test the waters since she had never done this before. If she couldn't sell it, she could always eat it herself. Xiao Huang initially didn't want to agree, but he eventually gave in to Wang Suimei's persistence and agreed to bring her 20 pounds of rice and 2 pounds of pork the next day. After confirming the pickup location for the next day, Wang Suimei felt relieved. She would try this out. Even if she couldn't sell it, she could keep it for her family. The next day, Wang Suimei told her younger son to play by himself and rode her bike to the agreed location with Xiao Huang. She planned to sell in a more distant area, so she needed the bike. The official prices for rice and pork were 14 cents and 81 cents per pound, respectively. Xiao Huang sold rice for about 41 cents per pound and pork for 2 yuan per pound. If it was a regular customer, there would be a small discount. These middlemen sold at slightly higher prices than small markets since they took on significant risks by bringing goods out to sell. Some people didn't buy much and didn't want to risk going to the black market, so they would buy from middlemen for convenience. Wang Jie, I'll charge you 35 cents per pound for the rice and 1.6 yuan for the pork. Try it out, but if we get caught, don't blame me. I won't admit it, Xiao Huang said. Don't worry, I'm not that kind of person, Wang Suimei replied, handing Xiao Huang the money and leaving with her goods. After riding for over half an hour, Wang Suimei arrived at the family area of the third food factory in Yangcheng. She parked her bike and gave a penny to the man in charge of the parking, then carried her big bamboo basket away. Feeling nervous about her first time, Wang Suimei tried to imitate Xiao Huang to appear more natural. After wandering around the outskirts for a while, she saw an older woman carrying a basket walking out, clearly on her way to buy groceries. Wang Suimei quickly followed and asked softly, "Sister, are you buying something?" The woman was startled. "What are you doing?" Although Wang Suimei couldn't speak Cantonese, after living here for 7 or 8 years, she could understand a bit. Realizing the woman was asking what for, she lifted a corner of her covered basket and asked, "Do you want some?" Seeing the rice in the basket, the woman led her to a side and asked, "How much?" Wang Suimei held up 4 fingers, 40 cents. She didn't plan to sell it for much more, just about the same as Xiao Huang. The woman nodded. It was similar to what she usually paid. Although it was expensive, the grain station wasn't releasing any supplies, so she had no choice but to buy at a high price. "I'll take 5 pounds. Okay. Wang Suimei quickly took out a bamboo tube to measure out 5 pounds of rice. This bamboo tube was given to her by Xiao Huang, with 1 tube equaling 1 pound of rice. They couldn't carry scales while selling. That would be obvious evidence of wrongdoing. So they had custom-made bamboo tubes, each holding a pound. The woman was satisfied with how full the bamboo tube was. After buying, she noticed 2 pieces of meat and asked, "How much for the pork?" Thinking the woman had already bought rice, Wang Suimei replied, 1.8 yuan per pound. The woman frowned. It was a bit expensive, but the 2 pieces of pork looked good, so she decided to buy one. Wang Suimei was thrilled. She hadn't expected things to go so smoothly right from the start. By the end of the morning, Wang Suimei had sold everything, earning 1.2 yuan and a little over half a pound of rice. Since her last tube wasn't quite a pound, she decided not to sell it and would take it home to eat. Wang Suimei was very happy. If she could earn this much every day, her monthly income would be comparable to those who worked regular jobs. In the evening, Wang Suimei met Xiao Huang at their agreed location to confirm the supplies for the next day, planning to sell the same items for a few more days. Wang Suimei sold for several days in a row. Although it wasn't as smooth as the first day, she managed to sell everything each day. Her daily income fluctuated around 1.5 yuan. Feeling more confident, she went to negotiate with Xiao Huang. After some back and forth, Xiao Huang finally gave Wang Suimei a decent price, 30 cents per pound for rice and 1.4 yuan for pork, leaving her with a good profit margin on other items. Excited about making money, Wang Suimei was busy. Several times, when Lu Xiaolan returned home at noon to get supplies, she saw Zheng's younger son waiting eagerly at the door. When asked, he said his mother had gone out and hadn't returned yet. Lu Xiaolan was puzzled. Wang Suimei had been going out every day lately, acting mysteriously. She didn't know what she was up to. Having lived in the family compound for so long, Lu Xiaolan was no longer the nosy person she used to be. Although she was curious, she didn't pry. In mid-June, after a nap, the nursery teachers took the children outside to play in the shade. Lele, still sleepy, sat down at the tree roots, feeling bored, when she suddenly noticed a line of ants carrying things to their anthill. Although they could have walked in a straight line, the ants chose to take a winding path, going in circles. Lele became interested and asked Anin, "Sister, why don't they walk in a straight line? Why go so far?" Ants follow scents to find their way. If the first ant takes a detour, the others will follow, Anin explained. "Sister, you're so smart. You know so much," Lele said with sparkling eyes. "Mom told a story about it before." Lele tilted her head, thinking for a moment. Realizing she had never heard it, she said, "That was a story just for you, so I don't know." After saying that, she continued to squat and watch the ants, mumbling, "Ants are so silly. Don't take the long way. It's closer this way." Saying this, she picked up a small twig and drew a line on the ground, nudging the ants. "Hurry up, little ants, follow the line Lele drew, follow the line Lele drew." At first, the ants were confused and scattered, but slowly, they settled down and obediently followed the line Lele had drawn. Seeing the ants following her line, Lele was thrilled and continued to draw more lines for them. "Little ants are so good. Following the line Lele drew, you'll get home soon." Anin watched from the side, feeling something was off. Normally, ants have their own paths and wouldn't just follow a line drawn by Lele. Sure enough, not only did the ants behind follow the line Lele drew, but even those originally ahead turned around and followed her line. And Anne's pupils slightly contracted. It seemed this was Lele's special ability. She could control animals. "Okay, enough watching. The ants are moving their home. It might rain soon. Let's go play somewhere else and not disturb them," Anin said, pulling Lele away to avoid drawing attention. About 5 minutes after Lele left, the ants that had been orderly following the line she drew suddenly paused and then became chaotic. Anin pulled Lele to sit under another big tree, watching the other kids play. Soon, the teachers organized the classroom and called the children back inside to play a game. As they walked, Lele said to Anin's sister, "I feel so sleepy. Didn't you just take a nap?" Anin asked. "But I'm still really tired. Maybe I didn't wake up properly," Lele replied. After the teachers had the kids sit in a circle, Lele was already nodding off on the ground, which made Lu Xiaolan laugh. "This little rascal, he was playing during nap time, and now he's falling asleep," she told another teacher, and went to set up a blanket for Lele to sleep on. Lele was struggling to stay awake, feeling dizzy. If he hadn't been holding on, he would have fallen asleep much earlier. As soon as he lay down, he fell asleep instantly. Lu Xiaolan covered Lele with a small blanket and shook her head with a smile. "You're so sleepy." Lele slept through most of the afternoon and didn't wake up until almost school was over. Lu Xiaolan checked on him several times. If it weren't for the rosy color in his cheeks and steady breathing, she would have thought he was sick. The two teachers discussed and figured that Lele had run too much during the morning game of Eagle Catches Chicks since he had volunteered to be the eagle. After school, Lu Xiaolan called out to Lele for a while before he finally woke up, still half asleep, and she led him home. Once home, Lu Xiaolan turned on the TV. After watching for a bit, Lele perked up and became focused on the show. The TV was airing a new storytelling program featuring a famous storyteller narrating the legend of Yufei. The old man spoke clearly and vividly, making it feel like they were right there in the story. Not only Lele, but even An and Lu Xiaolan were captivated, forgetting to make dinner. When they heard, to know what happens next, stay tuned for the next episode, Lu Xiaolan suddenly realized she had forgotten to cook and rushed to the kitchen. Lele, still wanting more, said to Anin's sister, "We should be great heroes like Yufei, protecting our home and country." Anin nodded but was worried inside. Lele had slept all afternoon, and it wasn't just Lu Xiaolan who was concerned. Anin was even more worried, fearing that Lele might have overexerted himself. When she returned to Northeast China last time, she realized their bodies were still too young for too much training or using special abilities. They needed to wait until they were a bit older. Now seeing Lele full of energy again, It seemed like he might have overused his mental energy and needed sleep to recover. Perhaps his ability wasn't animal control, but a form of mental power? That would be impressive. In the cultivation world, controlling people and things with mental power requires training, but this kid, without any training, could control low-level creatures at such a young age. If he trained more, wouldn't controlling people be easy for him? Unfortunately, she hadn't practiced any mental techniques in her past life. Otherwise, she could have guided him. When she sought revenge, she had found 2 books on the subject, but she was too busy to study them and just stored them away. After being reborn, she lost track of those treasures. When Suemo returned, Annan told her about the afternoon's events. Suemo was also surprised. She thought Lele was just smart, not realizing he could control things with mental power. Annan, watch over your brother. If he accidentally uses his powers, stop him. He's still too young. We'll talk to him about it when he's older, Suemo said. The main concern was that Lele could be a bit too talkative. If they told him now, he might accidentally spill the beans. They would wait until he was more mature. In mid-June, the first training session ended, with 200 elite soldiers participating in the selection, leaving only 62. The vice captain looked at the remaining candidates with concern. The elimination rate for the first session was 70%. After the next 2 sessions, it was uncertain how many would be left. If they wanted a full team of 100, they might have to wait. When Lu Changzheng returned to the unit, his direct supervisor called him in and criticized him. They had received many complaints, claiming that his selection process was not fair and even suggesting he was too harsh for the position. Lu Changzheng had anticipated this and immediately submitted his training report. He had written 4 or 5 notebooks detailing the overall training framework, each person's performance, the reasons for their elimination, and their weaknesses, all clearly documented. The supervisor realized that Lu Changzheng analyzed the day's training after each session, providing detailed feedback on everyone's performance. After about half an hour of reviewing, the supervisor closed the notebook and said to Lu Changzheng, "I will take your summary to the higher-ups. I will help you with other matters, but you may need to visit Consultant Kong yourself." Consultant Kong's son had also wanted to join the special team, but was eliminated shortly after starting, and he was the most vocal about it. "Okay, I'll go see him," Lu Changzheng replied. "Good, then hurry back home. You've been away for so long. Go see your wife and kids." The supervisor waved him off. After Lu Changzheng left, the supervisor picked up Lu Changzheng's summary again and continued reading until late at night. After finishing, the supervisor felt deeply moved. He had been in charge of the last selection and honestly, he didn't measure up to Lu Changzheng. At the same time, he felt relieved. The special team was a new attempt for the military, and having someone like Lu Changzheng leading it would save a lot of trouble. They were all getting older, and the burden of the military would eventually fall on the younger officers. Someone like Lu Changzheng, who is well-rounded, should be cultivated. The supervisor put away the notebooks, planning to meet with a few higher-ups first thing in the morning. When Lu Changzheng got home, the daycare hadn't let out yet, so he went to pick up the kids. Seeing that Lu Changzheng was even darker from the sun, Lele looked at his face, hesitating to speak. Noticing this, Lu Changzheng asked, "What? Do you think your dad is ugly again?" Lele quickly shook his head and flattered, "No. I think Dad looks more like a real man now." Lu Changzheng grunted in satisfaction at that answer. "Dad, what new skills did you learn this time? Teach us. I want to be a great hero, like Yu Fei." Lele had become obsessed with the storytelling and often mentioned Yu Fei. Lu Changzheng playfully patted Lele's bottom, picked up both kids, and headed home. "Sure, whatever I know, I'll teach you. But tomorrow you both have to go with Dad to a place so I can see what you've learned recently." Consultant Kong wasn't happy that his son was eliminated, so he would let the kids demonstrate that being a soldier also requires talent. With a son like that, he must have gotten in through the back door. The next day, Lu Changzheng asked Lu Xiaolan to give the 2 kids a day off and took them to the army, where he met with several leaders and Consultant Kong. Consultant Kong's son, Kong Lingxiang, was upset about being eliminated and had not returned to his original unit. Instead, he stayed at headquarters, demanding an explanation from Lu Changzheng. Hearing that Lu Changzheng wanted to compete with his son, Consultant Kong immediately expressed his dissatisfaction. The country has invested so many resources in your training. Ling Xiang is naturally not as good as you. Lu Changzheng waved his hand and said, "It's not a competition against me. It's against those two." He pointed at the kids. Consultant Kong's face turned red with anger. "Lu Changzheng, what do you mean by this?" This was a blatant insult. If his son won, it wouldn't be impressive since you couldn't beat two little kids. But if he lost, it would be embarrassing, and his son would struggle in the army afterward. Lu Changzheng smiled and said, "Consultant Kong, didn't Kong Lingxiang want an explanation from me? I'm here to give him one today." Lu Changzheng's actions were somewhat arrogant, but they were intentional. The reason so many were eliminated in this training session was due to several people using connections to get in. The leaders were now aware of how much attention the special team received, and some wanted to place their children in it to gain experience and later advance in their careers. Lu Changzheng didn't care about backgrounds. He welcomed those with real skills, but most sent over were just showpieces. Their tasks were dangerous, and if someone faltered, it could lead to disaster for everyone. Since lives were at stake, Lu Changzheng couldn't relax. This was his way of telling the leaders that if they wanted to send people over, they should at least send capable ones, not those who couldn't even compete with children. Just then, Commander Su arrived and said, "Bring them over. Let's compete." Consultant Kong was surprised that Lu Changzheng had even called Commander Su. It seemed the rumors might be true. Many said Commander Su was interested in the two kids, but in reality, he wanted to support Lu Changzheng without drawing too much attention. "Commander," Consultant Kong began, but was interrupted by Commander Su. "Old Kong, let them compete and see what explanation he gives. If it's not convincing, there will be serious consequences." He then told a nearby guard call everyone who participated in this election and is still at the guest house to come and watch. When Lu Changzheng first mentioned this, Commander Su disagreed, but after reading the training report Lu Changzheng submitted that morning, he agreed. Some bad habits should be stopped as soon as they appear. He also wanted to see how much the two kids had improved after a year of training. The guard quickly left to carry out the order. About 20 minutes later, Kong Lingxiang and a dozen soldiers who participated in the training arrived. The soldiers, both selected and eliminated, were startled to see so many high-ranking officials and quickly stood at attention. During the time the guard was gathering people, Lu Changzheng had already prepared everything needed. He approached the group of soldiers, had them line up to watch, and then walked over to Kong Lingxiang. "Kong Lingxiang, I heard you've been upset about your elimination and want an explanation from me?" Kong Lingxiang was not intimidated and replied loudly, "Yes. I believe my abilities are enough to join the special team. You suddenly raised the evaluation standards, causing my elimination, and I am not satisfied with that." He seemed to imply that Lu Changzheng was targeting him. Lu Changzheng smiled. "My evaluation standards were submitted to the leaders at the start of the training. There was no sudden change. As for your dissatisfaction, we'll have another competition today to convince you. Lu He and Lu Lihi, come here." "Yes." Two strong little voices responded, and the two kids in green uniforms ran up to Lu Changzheng. "You want me to compete with them?" Kong Lingxiang looked shocked. "Is there a problem?" Lu Changzheng asked. "On the battlefield, anyone could be our enemy, even a 3- or 4-year-old child. Today you will compete in 2 events, disassembling and assembling a firearm and shooting." He mentioned several gun models for Kong Lingxiang to choose from. Seeing that the leaders had no objections, Kong Lingxiang picked a model he was familiar with. Lu Changzheng had 3 of that model brought in, and after the guard checked them, the competition began. This was a standard training exercise, and not difficult. Kong Lingxiang had trained specifically for the special team, so he was very fast. Feeling a bit smug, he glanced at Anen and Lele as he was almost finished assembling. To his shock, he saw that the little girl had already finished before him. As he completed the last step, he realized he had lost to a little girl. The results of the first round were announced. First place went to Lu Heian, second to Kong Lingxiang, and third to Lu Lihi. Consultant Kong's expression was very grim. What happened to Ling Xiang? How could he be so careless as to lose to a child? At the same time, he was secretly amazed. These two little kids were impressive. Their familiarity with firearms at such a young age was not inferior to that of seasoned soldiers. Could it be that Commander Su was indeed interested in these two kids? Was that why he was investing so much effort in their training? In contrast to Consultant Kong's expression, Commander Su looked quite pleased. The second round of competition was still about disassembling and assembling firearms, but this time they were blindfolded. Lu Changzheng let Kong Lingxiang choose the model again. Although Kong Lingxiang had practiced blindfolded, he wasn't very skilled and felt nervous after losing the first round. He chose the same gun as before. Lu Changzheng had them blindfolded, confirming they couldn't see, and once they were ready, he shouted to start. The room was silent except for the sounds of disassembly and assembly. When Kong Lingxiang finished and lifted his blindfold, he found that the two little kids had already completed their tasks. Looking at his father's face, which was dark with anger, made him feel even worse. Lu Changzheng announced the results. First place, Lu Heian. Second place, Lu Lihe. Third place, Kong Lingxiang. In the first event, Kong Lingxiang was completely defeated. He couldn't believe he lost to a 4-year-old child. Panicking, he kept telling himself to stay calm. There was still one event left. If he performed well in shooting, he could redeem himself. He had some confidence in his shooting skills. Since N and Lele hadn't yet learned to shoot with real guns, they used slingshots for the shooting competition. With the leader's approval, N and Lele shot from 20 meters with slingshots, while Kong Lingxiang shot from 50 meters with real bullets, each firing 10 shots, with the score based on the number of rings hit. After the shooting, the scorekeeper announced Kong Lingxiang's results first. Kong Lingxiang, 6-10 rings, 2-9 rings, 2-8 rings. His score was good, and Consultant Kong's expression improved slightly. Lu Lihe, 3-10 rings for 9 rings, 2-8 rings, 1-7 ring. Lu Heian, 10-10 rings. The room fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Kong Lingxiang couldn't remember how he got back. He could only hear Lu Changzheng's words in his ears. If this were a battlefield, you would already be dead, killed by a 4-year-old child. You have some skills, but you are far from being qualified for the special team. Moreover, you are very arrogant, thinking too highly of yourself. Pride is a big taboo for soldiers. I hope you can improve yourself after you go back. There is no rule that eliminated team members cannot reapply for the special team. You can still sign up for the next selection. When the onlookers left, they were all shocked. Once they were a bit farther away, they started chatting. They had seen Kong Lingxiang's decent speed and shooting skills, and they believed their own performance wouldn't be much better. Where did those two little monsters, the Lu King, come from? They're so impressive. I heard they are Lu Changzheng's children. He has a pair of twins. No way. Lu Changzheng is too extreme. How could he train those kids to be like this at such a young age? Did he start training them as soon as they learned to walk and talk? By that logic, he's actually quite nice to them. If he can be so tough on his own kids, he must be a ruthless person. Some sharp-eyed observers said, it might not just be tough training. They might have talent. Look at that Lu Heian, 10 perfect shots. How long would it take you to achieve that? And she seems very steady, not just lucky. She probably is a natural sharpshooter. Some people are just born to be soldiers. Commander Su was very pleased with the two children's performance. After the soldiers left, he laughed heartily and took the two kids away. It seemed he could increase their training intensity. On Sunday, Su Mo and Lu Xiaolan took the two kids to school to meet their parents, and then they all went to the library to see Zhang Zhen. Lu Xiaolan followed because Su Mo had mentioned the college entrance exam. After thinking for a while, Lu Xiaolan decided to give it a try. Although her grades weren't great, she believed that with hard work, she could get lucky and become the first college student in the Lu family, bringing some honor to her family. However, her textbooks had been burned for firewood ages ago by Li Yue. Now, she hoped to find some middle and high school textbooks at the library with Su Mo. While waiting for the tram, Suemo noticed a few young men in military uniforms glancing at her and the two kids. Even after getting on the tram, they continued to stare, making her furrow her brow. She hadn't done anything significant recently, had she? She had been quite low-key in the family compound, so why were they paying attention to her? Suddenly, Suemo remembered that Lele had boasted about winning a competition a few days ago. Commander Su had rewarded the two kids with model guns for that. The toy guns looked very similar to those from the future, but in this era, they were quite rare. "And do those soldiers recognize you?" Suemo asked quietly. Anna nodded. "They watched us during the competition." Upon hearing this, Suemo straightened up a bit more. The mother of a genius must not lose face. After Suemo and the others got off the tram at school, the soldiers immediately began whispering. "I didn't expect Lu Chongjing's wife to be so beautiful. She's really a flower in a dung heap." "Are you crazy? How dare you say Lu Chongjing is dung? Be careful he doesn't find out and punish you in the next training session. Keep your mouth shut. If Lu Chongjing hears about this, you're done." One person shivered at the thought. "Later, let's go to the state-run restaurant for a meal. We'll pretend we didn't hear anything." They took the opportunity to treat themselves. "Come on. It doesn't have to be that extravagant, right? Just a bowl of noodles at the state-run restaurant will do. Look at you being stingy. If you don't treat us, we'll report you to Lu Chongjing tomorrow." Okay. A meal at the state-run restaurant it is, but only one dish per person," the young man emphasized. The others laughed and agreed. That young man came from a well-off family, with both parents working, and he was a squad leader with a decent salary. He was usually a bit stingy, which is why they took this chance to treat themselves. Thanks to Lu Chongjing, they were having a good meal. After Suemo reunited with her parents, they took a three-legged chicken to the bus station and boarded a bus to the library staff building. Suemo brought some fruits and vegetables for the two kids, while Mo Yurong bought 2 pounds of meat and some eggs. The library didn't have a canteen. Staff members cooked for themselves at home. After chatting for a while, Suemo brought up her need for textbooks to Zhang Zhen. Zhang Zhen had his own connections and had heard about the possible restoration of the college entrance exam. "I prepared them for you a long time ago. If you don't come to get them, I'll have to bring them next time I visit," Zhang Zhen said, getting up to fetch a stack of textbooks. When Suemo received them, she saw they were complete and all new, covering middle and high school. "Thank you, Grandpa Zhang." Suemo quickly expressed her gratitude. Zhang Zhen waved his hand. "No need for thanks. If you really want to thank me, just work hard and get into a good school." "Grandpa Zhang, is the college entrance exam really going to be restored?" "I'm just guessing based on the situation. Since he had prepared textbooks for her, he might have some inside information." She didn't know when the exam would be restored, especially with so many people falling from power. "I have an old friend in the Ministry of Education. In our last correspondence, he mentioned that the leaders are considering it. But there are too many issues this year, so it's unlikely. It might be as soon as next year." "Got it, I will study hard," Suemo replied. One set of textbooks would be enough for her and Lu Xiaolan. The first exam after restoration wouldn't be too difficult. She planned to take science and add a foreign language. She wasn't worried about language and math, and even the politics she had previously been concerned about had become her strong suit after working at the Foreign Trade Center, where political studies were frequent. Now she could recite political quotes easily. Later, she just needed to brush up on her physics and chemistry, as she had forgotten some formulas after so many years without use. After returning home, Suemo gave Lu Xiaolan her middle school textbooks and told her to review them first. If there were any unclear parts, she could ask Suemo. If Suemo didn't know either, they would remember it and ask the teacher later. When Su Tingqian learned that they both wanted to go to college, he planned to ask a few colleagues at school for some practice questions for them. He would also reach out to several high schools for recent exam papers and practice questions. Since he was part of the education system, it was much easier for him to obtain these materials than for Suemo and Lu Xiaolan. Lu Xiaolan was initially a bit unsure of herself because her grades in school weren't very good, and she thought she might not get into college. However, with so many convenient resources available, she felt she had to give it her all. Otherwise, she would be letting her brother and sister-in-law down. While others struggled to find textbooks, she not only had new ones but also practice questions from university professors and her sister-in-law to teach her. If she didn't work hard, who could she face? So, starting that day, after returning from work and finishing her chores, Lu Xiaolan buried herself in her studies in her room, even skipping TV. Su Mo, on the other hand, reviewed high school material. Since she had a good foundation, even if she didn't remember some things, reviewing them and doing a few problems quickly brought it all back, making it quite easy for her. After work, she also tried to spend as much time as possible with the children. The kids were clingy only for a few years. As they grew older, they would not be as attached. A few days later, another person joined the household in studying hard, Lu Chongzheng. However, Lu Chongzheng was not preparing for college. He was learning a language from a southern country. After the civil war in that southern country ended in April, they began to show signs of wanting to invade neighboring countries. Lu Chongzheng had specific requirements for his special team, not just in terms of military strength but also cultural knowledge. He didn't want his team members to struggle with language barriers when they entered enemy territory. When there were no missions, Lu Chongzheng required his team to not only do regular physical training but also learn various subjects. He even requested that some experienced veterans who were fluent in the languages of bordering countries be sent to teach them. Previously, they had mostly learned Russian and English, with only a basic understanding of some minor languages. Given the current situation and the unpredictable behavior of the southern country's leaders, Lu Chongzheng felt there was a high possibility of conflict between the two countries. Therefore, he arranged for several veterans fluent in that southern language to come and teach them. As the team leader, Lu Chongzheng naturally had to lead by example. After the two little ones turned 3, the household saw 2 more learners. Commander Su had already set up cultural classes for the little ones and, knowing that Su Mo was proficient in English, asked her to teach them some in the evenings. So, in the evenings, Su Mo taught the little ones English, while helping Lu Xiaolan with her questions and reviewing her own material, making her quite busy. The TV at home was only turned on during meals. At other times, it was off, saving a lot on electricity. In August, a severe rainstorm hit Hunan province, causing dozens of reservoirs to collapse, turning many areas into flooded zones and resulting in thousands of lives lost. Because of the early warning and the media's coverage, newspapers, radio, and television extensively reported on this disaster. The government immediately dispatched troops for disaster relief and allocated 700 million yuan for aid. According to later statistics, the disaster affected 10.15 million people, with over 26,000 fatalities. 24 million houses collapsed and 300,000 livestock washed away, leading to nearly 10 billion yuan in direct economic losses. Thanks to media coverage, people across the country learned about the local devastation through newspapers, radio, and television, prompting widespread donation drives. Phrases like "help one another in times of trouble," "unity is strength," and "go Hunan" frequently appeared in the media, and after nearly a decade of turmoil, national solidarity was once again remarkably united. The Foreign Trade Center even organized a fundraising campaign with overseas Chinese and foreign merchants, resulting in many donations. Within half a month, they raised over $1 million and many supplies. The Foreign Trade Center also initiated internal donations, and as a department leader, Su Mo led by donating 100 yuan, which was a significant amount for her. By the end of August, the center's leaders and officials from Guangdong province went to Hunan with the collected money and supplies, which received special coverage from Guangdong media and state media. Through this disaster, the country recognized the importance of knowledge. If more experienced people had designed the reservoirs, such tragedies might have been avoided. The process of redress sped up, and many intellectuals who had made outstanding contributions in their fields were welcomed back. The atmosphere continued to relax. In October, an editor from the Haisher newspaper, whom Su Mo hadn't heard from in a long time, wrote her a letter asking if she had time to translate. The novel she had previously translated was being serialized in the newspaper again and had received a good response. The newspaper's leadership believed Sumo's translations were excellent, and if she was available, they would prioritize her work, offering a translation fee of 5 yuan per 1,000 words. Since moving to Yangcheng, Sumo had not written anything due to her busy work schedule, but she wrote back to the editor, providing her address in Yangcheng. Thinking about the previous translation fee of over 700 yuan, she felt it was quite appealing and could squeeze out some time for it. However, she replied that she was busy and might not be able to translate as quickly as before, but if they didn't mind, she could take it on. Thus, Sumo began her life of working during the day and studying, teaching, and translating at night. One day, after teaching the little ones English and letting them read aloud, she started translating in her room. While she was writing, she heard shouting from next door. Although the two people tried to lower their voices, when emotions ran high, it was hard to control the volume, and their arguing grew louder. Moreover, the soundproofing in houses at that time was not very good, and even though Su Emo didn't want to hear the gossip from next door, the noise was hard to ignore. From what she could gather, it seemed that Wang Suimei had done something wrong, and Zheng Guosheng felt she had embarrassed him. Wang Suimei, however, disagreed, believing she had done nothing wrong by earning money through her own efforts. Listening in, Su Emo sensed that Wang Suimei might have been involved in some shady dealings. Su Emo didn't expect that Wang Suimei, who had been quiet, would be the first to take a risk. Next door, Zheng Guosheng was furious. Remembering what his boss had just said, his face alternated between green and white. His boss had said that if he had any difficulties at home, he could talk to the organization. There was no need to do bad things that could have negative effects. He was confused and didn't know what was happening. Seeing that he really didn't seem to know anything, his boss told him that his wife was selling goods outside and had been caught by the boss's wife. He was also criticized for not caring enough about his family, especially since such a big issue had gone unnoticed by him. Zheng Guosheng felt utterly humiliated. He had been careful for years and had never been criticized by his boss, yet now he was being reprimanded because of this foolishness. Am I not giving you enough to eat or wear? Is your monthly salary of over 100 not enough? Why do you have to do something illegal? It's not illegal. The government doesn't care about this anymore, Wang Suimei retorted, saying that if it were still the old days, she wouldn't have dared to do it. The government hasn't clearly said it's allowed, so it's illegal, Zheng Guosheng angrily replied. If you get me in trouble, you can go back to your hometown. Starting tomorrow, you will stay at home and not go anywhere. Wang Suimei knew she was in the wrong and didn't dare to raise her voice. Then can you ask the team to arrange a job for me? Having tasted the joy of earning her own money, Wang Suimei didn't want to go back to depending on others. At first, she only took a small amount of goods and sold them in distant places. Sometimes she sold everything quickly in the morning and didn't have to go out in the afternoon, making about 30 or 40 a month. But in August, her hometown was hit by a disaster, and her family wrote to her asking for money. She had been with the army for 7 or 8 years, and her family had never asked her for help before. This time, they must be in real trouble. After so many years without going back, she felt guilty towards her parents. Now that they were in need, she naturally wanted to help. She boldly sent back 100 yuan, but didn't want to use Zheng's salary to avoid being accused of supporting her family. After that, she started taking more goods and running around to make back that 100 yuan quickly. Once she tried it, Wang Suimei found it quite rewarding. Although it was hard work, she was earning well. In the past 2 months, she made about 70 or 80 a month, more than most workers. With money in hand, she felt confident. But she never expected to be discovered and reported to her boss. Zheng Guosheng initially wanted to scold her and say there were no jobs available, but seeing Wang Suimei's expression, he figured that if he said anything, she might sneak out again in a few days. So he said, "I'll talk to them tomorrow." He wanted to calm her down, but how long it would take to arrange a job wasn't up to him. He thought to himself how she had been so proud lately because she was making money. "How long have you been doing this?" he asked. Wang Suimei didn't dare to say she started in June. My family was hit by a disaster, and my brother wrote to borrow money, so I thought I'd earn some outside. Zheng Guosheng nodded, realizing she hadn't been doing it long and had a valid reason, which could help explain things to his boss. But then he remembered his own family had also suffered, and they hadn't written to ask for money. His in-laws were always asking him for support, which made him feel unhappy. Isn't the money I send each month enough? Now that they're in trouble, I have to support them too? Who is really suffering here? Wang Suimei immediately got angry. Zheng Guosheng, you should speak with some honesty. I've been with the army for so many years, and aside from sending 20 yuan for New Year's, I've never sent a penny to my family. Your family doesn't need to ask for money because all our money has been taken by them. I wondered why those relatives who borrowed money never paid it back. It turns out they gave it to your parents. How could they be so shameless? 870 yuan is not 87 yuan, and they quietly took it. After Zheng Guosheng had advanced his salary last time, Wang Suimei got angrier and asked her eldest son to help her write letters to every relative who borrowed money, urging them to pay it back. As a result, except for a few who hadn't finished paying, most said they had already returned the money to Zheng Guosheng's parents, and some even asked what was going on. Zheng Guosheng's parents were embarrassed and wrote a letter scolding him. Zheng Guosheng also had issues with his parents' greedy behavior. He sent money every month, and they shouldn't have taken it without asking him. Such behavior was really inappropriate. But he was used to being high and mighty in front of Wang Suimei. After all, his parents were still his parents, and he couldn't let her see him in a bad light. When he got home, he scolded Wang Suimei for writing letters to demand repayment, saying he already knew those people returned the money to his parents and that he had told them to collect it. Wang Suimei knew the Zheng family well and didn't believe him. Now that this topic came up, she brought up old grievances. I told you, that money was for my parents to collect, Zheng Guosheng said, getting angry and switching to his hometown dialect. Wang Suimei sneered. Do you think I would believe that? I know very well what kind of people your parents are. Before joining the army, she had lived with the Zheng family for 4 years. She had suffered a lot when she was alone, but things got better after she had her eldest son. She was afraid Zheng Guosheng would send her back to her hometown because those two old folks were hard to deal with. Zheng Guosheng was both anxious and angry, but he knew he was in the wrong, so he huffed and left with his briefcase. Seeing him leave again, Wang Suimei just rolled her eyes. An old man like him, running away from home at the drop of a hat. What a coward. The next day, fearing Wang Suimei would go out again, Zheng Guosheng surprisingly came home for lunch. Usually he ate at the army cafeteria. Seeing Wang Suimei had cooked eggs and even brought back meat and vegetables, he raised an eyebrow. It seemed she had made a good amount of money. Otherwise, given her frugal nature, she wouldn't be eating so well when he wasn't home. How much can you earn doing that? He asked during lunch. I'm not sure. I just get goods from others, so I don't make much, maybe 20 or 30 a month, Wang Suimei replied. Zheng Guosheng was somewhat skeptical but thought that since Wang Suimei didn't have many skills, earning 20 or 30 was still not easy. Then how come you're eating so well at noon? Wang Suimei shot him a glare. Is it only you who gets to eat well? Are we not allowed to have good food? We have to eat well. Otherwise, if we save money, who knows where it will end up? Come on, kids, eat more. I'll buy you meat every other day from now on, she said, putting eggs and meat into her children's bowls. Zheng Guosheng was taken aback. This woman was like a powder keg. For every word he said, she had 10 ready to fire back. After lunch, Wang Suimei asked, Did you talk to the logistics department about arranging a job for me? I did, Zheng Guosheng replied dismissively. Did they say when they would arrange it? How would I know? Once there's a job, they will arrange it. I'm telling you, you need to follow up closely. Otherwise, if they have a job, they might give it to someone else, and who knows when it will be my turn. Zheng Guosheng had planned to take a nap at home, but seeing Wang Suimei pressing him, he worried she might catch on. So, he made an excuse about needing to take care of things at work and left with his briefcase. Wang Suimei waited for nearly a month, and by the end of November, there was still no news about a job. When she asked Zheng Guosheng, he said he had inquired but there were no openings available. Wang Tsueme understood that jobs were hard to come by, so she didn't keep asking the logistics department to avoid making a bad impression by going there too often. She thought that if she still didn't have a job in 2 months, she could secretly sell goods again. By then, people would likely pay less attention to her. When that time came, she wouldn't take too much, just a little to sell, aiming to finish it all in one morning. This way, it wouldn't attract too much attention, and she could still make some money. One day, while getting food in the cafeteria, Wang Tsueme overheard two ladies chatting. One of them mentioned that her husband would be transferred to Cheong province next month, and she would go with him. Wang Tsueme felt a surge of hope. If that lady left, her job position would be open, and she could finally get a job. She deliberately ordered a dish from that window and confirmed with the lady. That evening, when Zheng Guosheng came home, Wang Tsueme reminded him to keep an eye on the situation and not miss any opportunities. Although the cafeteria job didn't pay much, only 24 yuan, it included meals, which added up. The main advantage was its stability. While reselling goods could earn more, it was illegal, and if the authorities cracked down, it could lead to serious trouble. With Zheng's personality, he might even consider divorce. However, by early December, Wang Tsueme still hadn't received any job notification. When she asked Zheng Guosheng, he hesitated and said the logistics department hadn't made any arrangements. After living with Zheng for so long, she could tell he was lying. The next day, when she went to the cafeteria, she saw that the position had already been filled by a young woman. Wang Tsueme recognized this young woman. She had come to the military later than Su Mo, and her husband was only a company commander. Given the time served and her husband's rank, she should have been prioritized for the job. Wang Tsueme was furious and went straight to the logistics department to find out what happened. When she inquired, she was so angry that she trembled. Originally, the logistics department intended to give the job to Wang Tsueme and had informed Zheng Guosheng. But the young woman's husband approached Zheng Guosheng, claiming they were in financial trouble and his mother was seriously ill, asking if the job opportunity could be given to his wife instead. Zheng Guosheng, known for caring for his subordinates, felt he couldn't refuse since the man had come to him for help. He went to the logistics department with the man and gave up the job. This wasn't the first time. Zheng, for the sake of his reputation, repeatedly sacrificed her. Wang Tsueme stormed towards Zheng Guosheng's office, ready to confront him, but as she walked, she suddenly calmed down. Forget it. Arguing with someone like him would only upset her, and others would see her as a shrew, leading to more bad reputation. After all, everyone knew Zheng was a good person in the military. If he wanted to save face, let him. She would live her own life and earn her own money. They would not interfere with each other. Wang Tsueme's visit to the logistics department reached Zheng Guosheng's ears, and he anticipated her would come to confront him. He had prepared a whole lecture, just waiting for her to arrive. But he waited until the end of the workday, and Wang Tsueme still hadn't come. He wondered if she had changed her mind or was planning to confront him at home. On the way home, Zheng Guosheng felt a bit anxious. When he got home, everything was calm. Wang Tsueme had even cooked dinner, showing no signs of wanting to leave. After dinner, Zheng Guosheng explained his mother is ill and needs money, and their family is in real trouble. My salary can support us, so I let him have the job. I'll help you apply for the next opportunity. Okay, Wang Tsueme replied, not paying much attention to him. After cleaning up, she went to watch TV. Zheng Guosheng had prepared a lot to say, but it all went unused, feeling like he had hit a pillow. The next day, Wang Tsueme got up early, made breakfast, and rode her bike out. She had met with Xiao Huang yesterday and was going to pick up goods with him that morning. Resellers had their own ways. They heard that the higher-ups were considering different economic systems in Guangdong province and were currently allowing some freedom to see the results. After half a year of testing, it seemed true. The vendors at the train station selling food were becoming quite bold, and no one was stopping them. Since the authorities seemed to be turning a blind eye, they were getting bolder and didn't mind Wang Tsueme picking up goods. After all, Wang Tsueme had been selling for several months, and her sales were quite stable. The pickup location was in a nearby village, where there was someone guarding the entrance. Wang Tsueme followed Xiao Huang to a warehouse behind the village hall, where there was plenty of stock, not less than what the local supply and marketing cooperative offered. It was Wang Tsueme's first time there, and she felt nervous. She picked some items she thought would sell well, paid, and quickly left. Although Zheng Guoxing didn't pay much attention to home affairs, Wang Tsueme's early mornings and late nights made it obvious she was back to reselling. He was so angry that he broke several bowls, and the children were frightened and cried. Wang Tsueme, I'm telling you, if you do this again, we'll get a divorce. Go ahead, I don't care, Wang Tsueme scoffed. She had thought a lot these days. Zheng was a proud man and probably wouldn't dare to really divorce her. Even if he did, she wouldn't be afraid. After so many years of marriage, she had endured too much. It was a new era now. Divorce was acceptable, and women could stand on their own. A sister she knew who had divorced was doing just fine. The sister was right. A man who doesn't consider his family isn't worth keeping. Zheng Guoxing didn't expect Wang Tsueme to be so resolute. He was momentarily speechless and finally said, "Even if you don't think of me, can't you think about the children's future? If you get caught with a criminal record, they won't pass the political review when they want to join the army. That won't happen. Many people are selling now, and the government isn't intervening," Wang Tsueme replied, her confidence wavering. She could ignore Zheng, but she couldn't disregard her children. Why can't you understand? Just because it seems okay now doesn't mean it won't change. If they crack down again, everyone who has stuck their neck out will be caught. Wang Tsueme felt a bit panicked by Zheng Guoxing's words. She didn't have much education, and most of what she knew was from what she had seen and heard. Zheng's point wasn't without merit. After all, there's an old saying, use a long line to catch big fish. Wang Tsueme felt deflated, losing all her energy. Why was it so hard for her to make some money? After that day, Wang Tsueme stopped picking up goods and obediently returned to being a housewife. But she seemed to have lost all hope and looked dejected. At the end of December, a strong cold front hit Guangdong province, dropping temperatures to -4 or 5 degrees. This was extremely rare for Yangcheng, where winter temperatures usually hover around 10 degrees. The sky was overcast and small ice pellets occasionally fell. In the morning, the ground was covered with thick frost, and many roads were icy, severely affecting public transportation. Cyclists frequently fell due to the slippery conditions. Most of the vegetables grown by nearby communes were killed by the frost and snow, resulting in significant economic losses. Cities relying on Guangdong for winter vegetables faced severe shortages. Local customs in Yangcheng are strong, and many elderly residents remarked that this was a warning from above, suggesting that the coming year would not be good. Thus, Yangcheng welcomed 1976 while dealing with the challenges of ice and snow. In early January, the tragic news arrived that a dedicated leader had passed away, leaving the entire nation in mourning. At the same time, many worried that past troubles might return. Amid these concerns, the announcement of a significant news item cut through the gloom, bringing hope to everyone. On February 3rd, the fourth day of the Lunar New Year and the first day back to work, the People's Daily headlined the imminent restoration of the college entrance examination. Radio and television stations continuously broadcasted this news. The news quickly spread across the country, and young people rushed to share it, many moved to tears. The exam was scheduled for July 20th to July 22nd. The candidates included workers, farmers, youth who had gone to the countryside, returning soldiers, officials, and recent high school graduates. Unlike the previous announcement that allowed only a little over a month for preparation, this time everyone had ample time to study. To assist students, the government reprinted the self-study series on mathematics, physics, and chemistry. Demand for these books surged, with many seeking copies. To ease the pressure on the central government, provinces organized experienced teachers to compile review outlines and practice questions to support local students. As someone with connections, Su Mo had already received various study materials from Zhangzhen. With plenty of time to prepare, Su Mo was cautious. There were many capable candidates, and she didn't want to fail. However, she faced a dilemma about which school to apply to. If she hadn't come to Yangqing with the military, she would have confidently applied to Huada. Now, she had to reconsider. Firstly, her husband, Lu Chongjing, and their children were in Yangqing. If it were just Lu, she could take the kids to Beijing while studying. But since the children were valued by Commander Su and had classes to attend, they couldn't leave Yangqing. She felt reluctant to abandon her family for Beijing. Secondly, looking at the current trajectory, Guangdong would remain a pioneer in reform and opening up. The era of wealth in Guangdong would soon arrive, making it unwise for her to leave Yangqing now, especially as she aimed to enter the business world. Thirdly, after years in Yangqing, she had built a network. As the saying goes, when people leave, the tea cools. If she left for a few years, some connections might fade. Ultimately, Su Mo decided to stay in Yangqing and apply to the best university there. She could study while running her business, ensuring she didn't miss any opportunities. In early March, Su Mo focused on finishing the remaining parts of her novel translation. After the spring trade fair, she would devote herself entirely to studying. The novel was nearly 800,000 words long. Su Mo had translated about 200,000 words while in Lujia village, leaving 600,000 words to be completed in the next 4 months. The translation fee was 5 yuan per 1,000 words, and in less than 5 months, Su Mo earned a substantial 2,935 yuan. However, she kept this to herself, saving it for future use. After the announcement about the college entrance exam, Lu Xiaolan wrote home to tell her family about her and Su Mo's plans to apply to university. Lu Qing'an was overjoyed. He had always regretted that Lu Chongjing didn't attend college, but now, whether it was Su Mo or Lu Xiaolan who got accepted, the Lu family would have a college graduate. Hearing that walnuts are good for the brain, Lu Qing'an and his wife exchanged for many bags from their brigade and even from the neighboring brigade, preparing to send them to Yangqing. With so many items, the postage was expensive, so Lu Qing'an asked Tao Peixing for help to send them by train. Last year, their third child had brought back special rations twice, also using Tao Peixing's assistance for train shipping. When Tao Peixing learned that Lu Qing'an wanted to send so many bags of walnuts to Yangqing for Su Mo and the others, he asked for a bag for himself. Ma Xiaowan was also working hard to prepare for the university entrance exam, teaching during the day and studying late into the night, all while being pregnant, which worried Tao Peixing. Since walnuts were said to be good for the brain, he decided to get more for his wife, doing what little he could. When Su Mo saw the 4 large bags of walnuts that Lu Chongjing brought back from the station, she couldn't help but laugh and cry at the same time, but she was grateful for the elder's heartfelt gesture. Su Mo shared some with her parents, Grandpa Zhang and Commander Su, keeping the rest at home for the children and Lu Xiaolan to enjoy. While walnuts may not boost brain power, they are nutritious and good for calcium, making them beneficial for children and the elderly. This year's spring trade fair went very smoothly, with more foreign merchants attending than in previous years, and the transaction volume reached a new high. After the fair, Su Mo began her intense study routine. By May, Lu Xiaolan resigned from her job, deciding to go all in, success or nothing. When it came time to fill out college applications in June, Lu Xiaolan thought long and hard and decided to apply to the normal college in Harbin. The children had grown up and were very understanding, so she didn't need to take care of them anymore. Heilongjiang province was still her home, where her parents lived, and she hadn't been able to fulfill her filial duties in recent years. If she got accepted, she could return home during winter and summer breaks to care for her parents. If not, she was prepared to go back and do anything. The atmosphere was improving, and she heard from her sister-in-law that private businesses might soon be allowed. If she didn't get accepted, she would return to farming, and once private businesses were permitted, she could start her own small venture. In July, the college entrance exam took place as scheduled. Lu Chongjing took 3 days off and borrowed a vehicle from the army to take Su Mo to her exams. Lu Xiaolan's exam venue was quite far, so Su Mo arranged for Lu Chongjing to book a room at a nearby guest house, allowing them to stay there and avoid the hassle of commuting. For meals, they went to eat at Zhongzhen's place. Lu Xiaolan's exam site was close to the library. Shouting was also taking the exam and happened to be in the same venue as Lu Xiaolan, so they could return together after finishing. After the summer break began, Su Tingqian and his wife went directly to the family compound to help take care of their 2 grandchildren, allowing Su and Mo and the others to focus on their studies. They put a lot of effort into preparing nutritious meals for the 2 students. On the morning of the 20th, the Chinese exam was from 8:30 to 10:30. The exam paper wasn't particularly difficult, and everyone had ample preparation time, so they likely did well. In Sumo's classroom, no one turned pale or cried upon seeing the exam paper. Su and Mo didn't submit her paper early, but stayed until the last moment. When she came out, Lu Changjing's vehicle was already waiting at the school gate. Many young people from the suburbs who came to take the exam envied Su and Mo for having military transport. "How was it, dear?" Lu Changjing asked after she got in the car.
Su and Mo smiled. "Not bad."
Lu Changjing grinned. "Looks like our Lu family will have a college student soon." When they got home, Mo Yurong had already prepared a meal, urging Su and Mo to eat quickly and rest. During the meal, Su Tingqian hesitated to ask how Su and Mo did, worried it might affect her. Seeing his expression, Su and Mo said, "The questions in the morning weren't too hard. I think I did okay." Only then did Su Tingqian relax. Although their daughter had always done well in school, it had been years since graduation, and she had to balance studying with work during this review period. In the afternoon from 2 to 4, they had the physics and chemistry or history and geography exam. Su and Mo took physics and chemistry. Since she excelled in science, the questions were not difficult, and she finished quickly. After checking her answers twice and finding no mistakes, she submitted her paper early. Many students still struggling with their calculations felt nervous when they saw Su and Mo submit her paper, thinking time was running out, but the invigilator reminded them they still had over half an hour, which eased their anxiety. On the 21st, they had the math exam in the morning and political science in the afternoon. Neither of these subjects was difficult for Su and Mo, and she performed well. After picking up Su and Mo, Lu Changjing went to the guest house to get Lu Xiaolan. While in the car, they asked Lu Xiaolan how she felt about the exams, and she said she thought she did okay and could answer most of the questions. On the 22nd, there was an additional exam. Lu Xiaolan hadn't registered for it, so she didn't have to take it, but Su and Mo had to take an English exam in the afternoon. After finishing, Su and Mo and Lu Xiaolan, along with a few others from the family compound who took the exam, compared answers and estimated their scores. The college entrance exam papers are not standardized nationwide. Many provinces create their own. The exam paper for Guangdong province was produced by its education department. Each subject is scored out of 100, with a total of 400 points, and there are no additional questions. Lu Xiaolan estimated her score to be around 320 to 330. The normal college she applied to was just a junior college, so with that score, she should be fine. Su and Mo calculated her scores for math and physics and chemistry, thinking she might have scored full marks. She didn't make many mistakes in Chinese and political science either. She estimated that for the 4 core subjects, she should have around 370 to 380 points and at least 90 in English, making her chances of getting into the top university in Guangdong province very likely. In Lijiakan, Lu Qing'an was anxiously waiting. After 2 days without any news, he decided to ride his bike to the post office to make a call. He noticed that the young people from the brigade showed their exam results on their faces the next day. Lu Xiaolan had already quit her job and was busy packing to prepare for her train ride back to Lijiakan in a few days. If she got accepted, her 3rd brother and sister-in-law could send the acceptance letter to her. Su Mo went back to work, having only taken 4 days off for the exams. While Lu Xiaolan was busy, she heard the management office's announcement calling her to the phone and rushed over. When she realized it was her father calling, she was startled, fearing something had happened. Once she understood Lu Qing'an's questions, she relaxed. "Dad, why are you so anxious? We just finished the exams. How would we know?" Lu Xiaolan laughed. "Did you not estimate your scores? I saw the young people from our brigade estimating theirs right after the exam." "I did. I think I scored around 320 to 330, which is above average. My sister-in-law said I should be able to get into the school I applied to. But we still need to wait for the acceptance letter to be sure, Lu Xiaolan replied. My sister-in-law is definitely going to get in. Really? Lu Qing'an was very excited. Yes, about 10 people from the family compound took the exam, and we compared answers. My sister-in-law hardly made any mistakes. If she doesn't get in, then no one will. Great, great. Lu Qing'an repeated several times, then asked Lu Xiaolan to send a telegram when she returned so he could have her two brothers pick her up. After hanging up, Lu Qing'an hummed happily on his way back. On the road, he met fellow workers returning home. Seeing Lu Qing'an so cheerful, someone joked, "Secretary, why are you so happy? Did something good happen?" Lu Qing'an waved his hand with a proud smile. We might have a college student in the family. Xiao Emo is almost certain to get in, and Lu Xiaolan kept it a secret until they received the acceptance letters. Having two college students would truly bring honor to the family. Wow, which kid got in? How do you know so soon? Many people knew about Lu Xiaolan and Su Emo taking the exam because Li Wei had mentioned it before. There's no way to know so quickly, they just compared answers. Xiao Mo's score is very high, and unless something unexpected happens, she's almost guaranteed to get in. Secretary, if you receive the acceptance letter, you must treat everyone to drinks. This would be the first college student from our brigade. Although Su Emo is a young person, since she married Lu Chongjing, she is now part of Lejiakan. Sure. If she gets in, I'll definitely treat everyone. Lu Qing'an would not skimp on such good news. It needed to be celebrated. After the exams, Sumo felt a bit distracted at work, constantly checking the news in the newspapers and on the radio. On the 28th, there was going to be a major earthquake in Tang City. 6 months ago, she had started writing anonymous letters to the National and Tang City earthquake bureaus, as well as some important leaders, but she hadn't seen any actions taken. She didn't know if they received her letters or if they believed her. Having come here, she truly hoped to save more people from that disaster. On the evening of the 27th, when Su Emo heard the broadcast on the radio stating, the National Earthquake Bureau predicts that Tang City may experience an earthquake in the next 2 days. Citizens are advised to stay in open areas. Her anxious heart finally relaxed. Fortunately, someone chose to believe the anonymous letter. No matter who made that decision, she sincerely thanked that person, as they would save countless lives. Although open areas may not be completely safe during a major earthquake, they are certainly better than sleeping in buildings. Su Emo noticed that the broadcast was on a loop, airing every few minutes. If the national broadcast stations could do this, she believed Tang City would receive even more comprehensive notifications. She hoped that this time there wouldn't be so many tragedies and that more people could be saved. Meanwhile, in a conference room in Jing City, a group of people sat with serious expressions. Director Zhu, we have not detected any signs of an earthquake. If you report this information now, and let the radio broadcast it repeatedly, Tang City will likely come to a standstill. If there is no earthquake, who will bear the economic losses? One person asked angrily. Tang City is an important industrial city, and the losses from a halt in production could be significant. They didn't want the entire department to face consequences later. The elderly leader waved his hand and said, "If there are repercussions from above, I will take full responsibility and not implicate anyone else. Even if there is only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I must notify everyone. That's my duty. Economic losses can be recovered later, but lives lost are gone forever." After a previous argument, Director Zhu felt a bit weary. Seeing that they wanted to say more, he waved them off, saying, "All right, you all can leave now. If there are any issues, I will take full responsibility." Once everyone left, a young man looked at the elder and sighed. "Grandpa, why do you have to do this?" "Ayong, we must act with conscience and be true to ourselves." The person who wrote the anonymous letter sent several over the past 6 months, so they likely weren't just making things up. I have been closely monitoring the data from various earthquake stations. While we can't definitively say there will be an earthquake, there are indeed some anomalies in the data. Even if the possibility is minuscule, I cannot hide it for the sake of convenience. Compared to the lives at stake, my personal interests are insignificant. The young man looked at the elder and sighed. I'll stay here for you. You should go home and rest. If anything happens, I'll call you immediately. The house arranged for the elder by the bureau was very close to the office. If he ran fast, he could get there in 5 minutes. Director Zhu waved his hand, saying he couldn't relax with such a big issue at hand. Grandpa, I know you're worried. Now that the information has been sent out, staying here won't help. Your health isn't good, and if something happens, we need you to be in charge, not collapsed. Please go home and rest. Don't make me worry. If anything happens, I'll definitely call you. Unable to resist his grandson's persuasion, Director Zhu finally went home. After quickly preparing a meal, he listened to the radio while checking documents. It was almost midnight when he finally lay down to rest, but he couldn't sleep. After a long time, he started to feel a bit drowsy. Just as he was about to fall asleep, the ground suddenly shook, and a cup on the table fell to the floor, causing various cries to erupt from the staff building. Director Zhu jumped up, put on his coat, slipped on his shoes, and rushed out of the room, running to the office with a speed he had never shown before. An earthquake. It really was an earthquake. If the epicenter was indeed Tang City, and there was such a strong tremor in Jing City, then would those people still be alive? Having studied geology abroad, Director Zhu was well aware of the history of famous earthquakes and understood how small humans are in the face of natural disasters. Even if they moved to open areas, a large crack could swallow everyone. He rushed into the office and shouted to his grandson on duty, "Quick, call Tang City." His grandson, Zhou Feiyang, looked pale and said, "I called, Grandpa, but I can't get through." When he felt the tremor, Zhou Feiyang didn't run outside immediately. Instead, he started calling Tang City, but the calls wouldn't connect. At that moment, other phones in the office began to ring urgently. Director Zhu and Zhou Feiyang answered them. The calls were reports from several earthquake stations near Jing City. Some of their measuring instruments had been knocked over, and some recorded unusual data. Currently, there were only a few earthquake stations forming the basic seismic network in the country. The magnitude of each earthquake was determined by averaging the magnitudes reported by these stations. Just after hanging up, a call came from central leadership. Is the epicenter confirmed to be Tang City? What is the magnitude? It should be Tang City. When the tremor started, we tried calling, but couldn't get through. We can't assess the magnitude yet, but it is estimated to be no less than 7. Will there be an earthquake in Jing City? The leader asked. Given the strong tremors, if Jing City also experienced an earthquake, they needed to evacuate the public quickly. We can't assess that yet. I recommend everyone stay in open areas tonight. After receiving the response, the leader hung up, arranging for people to call and send telegrams to Tang City while also broadcasting in Jing City, urging citizens to leave buildings and stay in open areas. Meanwhile, others from the Earthquake Bureau returned to the office. The staff building was not far from the office, so they arrived in just a few minutes. The people who had caused the most commotion earlier now looked pale. Director, did Tang City really experience an earthquake? Fortunately, Director Zhu had reported in advance. Otherwise, they might have faced severe consequences. Yes, Director Zhu replied. Don't panic. Just focus on your work. I'll handle everything else. First, call the other earthquake stations for data reports. Under Director Zhu's guidance, everyone began to work in an orderly manner. Soon, data from the other earthquake stations began to come in. Nan City, Mon City, Kuan City. Based on the reports, Director Zhu calculated and ultimately determined the magnitude to be 7.8. Meanwhile, about 10 minutes later, the telegram sent to Tang City received a reply with just 4 words. Tang City is flat. The messenger was shocked and quickly delivered the telegram to the leader. Upon seeing this, the leader immediately picked up the phone and called the commander of the military district in Ji Province, ordering them to send troops to Tang City overnight to search for survivors. Then, he issued several directives to dispatch a large number of professionals and medical personnel from across the country to rush to Tang City overnight. At that moment in Tang City, cries and wails filled the air. Although there had been early warnings and most people had moved to open areas, humanity still felt insignificant against nature. During the most intense seconds of the earthquake, the ground suddenly opened up, swallowing many people. They didn't have time to react before the cracks quickly closed again, and those who fell and couldn't even call for help before disappearing underground. Some cracks were not as tightly closed, and people on the surface could still hear cries for help from below, but they couldn't assist because they couldn't see where the people were. They could only listen as the cries gradually weakened until they vanished. Moreover, aftershocks continued. In some large cracks, people who were almost out could be pulled back in by a single aftershock, leaving only bloodstains on the ground as evidence of their existence. Many people couldn't bear to watch their loved ones perish before their eyes and collapsed in despair. The next day, the central radio station reported that a 7.8 magnitude earthquake had struck Tang City, leaving it nearly flattened. People across the country were shocked. Many gathered around their radios to follow the rescue efforts. At noon, Jing TV aired footage of the aftermath in Tang City. Lu Xiaolan was at home, eating when she turned on the TV. The scenes of destruction in Tang City deeply pained her heart. Seeing the city reduced to rubble, the helpless elderly and children crying, and the rescuers carrying bodies with tears in their eyes, Lu Xiaolan couldn't help but cry. In that moment, she suddenly wanted to do something for those people. Putting down her bowl, Lu Xiaolan went to her room, took out 50 yuan, and planned to ask at the management office about donating. When she arrived at the management office, she heard Director Song discussing how military hospitals had sent a group of doctors to Tang City for rescue efforts, and they had already flown to the capital that morning. She also learned that many people in Yang City had formed a volunteer team, ready to leave for Tang City tomorrow to help with disaster relief. Thinking of the helpless children she saw on TV, Lu Xiaolan suddenly had an idea. She decided to go to Tang City to help those children. Having worked at a nursery for 3 years and studied education in college, she felt qualified to teach. After confirming with Director Song where to meet tomorrow, Lu Xiaolan returned home. She repacked her luggage, taking only 2 or 3 changes of clothes, then went to the military service center to buy 7 or 8 pounds of candy, a few pounds of biscuits, and some brown sugar. Compared to money, the children there needed food more. After finishing, Lu Xiaolan called home from the post office to tell Lu Qing'an that she wouldn't be returning yet because she was going to Tang City for disaster relief. The Lu family didn't have a TV, and Lu Qing'an had only heard a little about the situation in Tang City from the radio, not fully aware of the severity, just knowing it seemed serious. Xiaolan, the country has already sent the army to help. You don't have any skills, why go there? Lu Qing'an was not very supportive. Dad, I can help take care of the children. I have 3 years of experience as a nursery teacher, and I studied education in college. I can do this. How will you get there? Are you going alone? There's a volunteer team in Yang City leaving tomorrow, and I'll go with them. All right, just be careful. Earthquakes are serious. After the rescue, come home and send a telegram, Lu Qing'an said, realizing his daughter was grown up and could make her own decisions. A few days later, as Lu Qing'an learned more about the severe earthquake situation in Tang City from the newspapers, he felt both worried and proud. He worried for his daughter's safety, but was proud of her sense of duty. However, by then, Lu Xiaolan had already left and was out of contact. That evening, when Su Mo and Lu Chongjing returned from work, Lu Xiaolan told them about her plans to go to Tang City for disaster relief. They did not oppose her decision. Lu Chongjing taught Lu Xiaolan many self-rescue methods for earthquakes and wrote them down for her to memorize. He wanted to help with the disaster too, but everyone had their responsibilities, and theirs was to guard the southern gate. They couldn't leave. Su Mo felt the same way. After finishing her work in August, she would have to start her paid studies, and she wanted to do her best in her final days of duty. Her personal efforts were limited. Instead of going to Tang City, she thought it would be better to raise more funds and supplies for the disaster area from where she was. The next day, Lu Chongjing took Lu Xiaolan to the volunteer meeting point. The railway company had arranged a special express train for the volunteers to Tang City. When Lu Xiaolan got on the train and looked for a seat, she unexpectedly saw Xiao Ding. Both were surprised to see each other and decided to sit together. "Comrade Lu, you're going to Tang City too?" Ding Ziqing asked. With aftershocks still occurring in Tang City, it was very dangerous for women to go there, especially after the 7.1 magnitude quake that struck Wan County, 40 kilometers away, the previous evening. "Comrade Ding, I want to help the children there. I saw them on TV yesterday, and it was just too heartbreaking." Ding Ziqing thought that taking care of children in logistics wasn't too dangerous. Although they were on an express train, it would still take more than 2 days to reach Tang City. During the journey, they chatted casually and gradually became more familiar with each other. Meanwhile, in the capital, after the recent major earthquake, the public was very anxious, and many people had started setting up earthquake shelters along the roads. Central leaders also required the Earthquake Bureau to monitor the situation continuously, with staff on duty day and night, reporting any anomalies to ensure the safety of the capital. At the Foreign Trade Center, everyone worked together to raise a lot of funds and supplies for the disaster area, which were shipped directly to Tang City. In early August, the grading for the college entrance examination in Guangdong province was completed. Due to limited conditions, the college entrance examination at that time was not like in later years, where students could check their scores immediately after they were released. Most students had to rely on others to check their records at the Education Bureau or wait until they were admitted to a university to see their files, making it easy for someone to impersonate them after the exam. Su Mo was still thinking about asking Su Tingqian to check her and Lu Xiaolan's scores at the Education Department when she received a call from the Education Bureau that she had become the science top scorer in Guangdong province. The next day, Su Mo saw her scores in the newspaper. Full marks in physics and mathematics, 93 in Chinese, 95 in politics, and 98 in English, which were very impressive. The other liberal arts top scorer, Wen Man, also had excellent results, 99 in Chinese, losing only 1 point in the essay, 94 in politics, 89 in mathematics, and 90 in history and geography. The Guangdong Education Bureau held a commendation meeting for the two, awarding each of them 500 yuan and inviting many media outlets for interviews. Wen Man was a young intellectual sent to the countryside from Jiangxi province, coming from a family of teachers. She had faced hardships in previous years, but now it seemed her suffering had come to an end. As they were leaving, Wen Man extended her hand to Su Mo. "Su Mo, see you in the capital." Wen Man was applying to Jing University, and she thought Su Mo would surely apply to Huada or Jing University with such good scores. Su Mo smiled and shook her hand back. "I'm not going to the capital. I'm applying to Zhongda." Wen Man was very surprised. "With your scores, why?" "My husband and child are here. I can't bear to leave." "Zhongda is also great. No matter which school we attend, we will work hard to study and serve our country." Wen Man was even more shocked. Su Mo looked younger than her, and she didn't expect her to be married with children. During the interview, they had been separated, so Wen Man was unaware of Su Mo's situation. "Yes, it's the same at any school." Wen Man smiled awkwardly. "Let's work hard together." Su Tingda learned from Su Tingqian that Su Mo was the top science student and happily called to praise her. After returning home, he scolded Su Yuan. Su Yuan also took the college entrance exam, but his results were average, likely just enough to get into a vocational school. Su Yuan didn't care. He had different goals for attending school. "My little sister goes to study, while I go to meet people. Our purposes are different." Su Tingda was taken aback and scolded. "Nonsense. What are you talking about? If you go to school and don't study seriously, wasting national resources, I'll make you regret it. There are many ways to contribute to the country. You don't have to just study," Su Yuan replied. After the spring fair, he stayed in Yangqing for a few days, exploring and finding many opportunities. He thought the right moment could come at any time, so he needed to secure his place and be ready to act when the time was right. Originally, he planned to quit his job and go when the opportunity arose, but he feared his father would disagree, making quitting troublesome. So, he registered for the college entrance exam, filling out all his choices with schools in Yangqing. If he could get in, all his problems would be solved. To his surprise, he actually passed. With his scores, even if he couldn't get into a vocational school, a secondary school was definitely possible. If you don't want to study, then don't take the exam. The number of admissions this time is limited. By taking one spot, you're taking away someone else's chance. Su Tingda was furious. Seeing that his father was genuinely angry, Su Yun quickly said, "Don't worry. I was just joking. I wouldn't dare not study." Su Tingda was even more upset seeing Su Yun's careless attitude. This rebellious son was born to annoy him. At 27, he still didn't have a partner. Was he planning to stay single forever? Thinking of another single man in the family, aged 35, Su Tingda felt a headache coming on. Why don't young people want to get married anymore? They should know that among the 3 unfilial acts, not having descendants is the worst. On the 4th day after the results were released, Su Mo received her admission notice from the Foreign Language Department of Zhengda University. Su Mo was impressed by the speed of Zhengda's admissions office. She thought it would take at least half a month to receive the notice. In fact, the director of the admissions office had heard that the top science student applied to their school and expedited the process to send the notice to Su Mo quickly, fearing that if they delayed, another school might snatch her up. Even 4 days felt a bit slow to him. If he weren't worried about attracting attention, he would have delivered the notice to Su Mo himself. He had already learned that Su Mo was not only academically excellent but also highly capable. She was a standout at the Foreign Trade Center and had already become a department head at a young age. Such a valuable talent couldn't be missed. At that time, the admission notice was called an enrollment notice and wasn't as beautifully printed as in later years. It was just an A4 sheet stating the major and registration dates, stamped with the school's red seal. The registration dates for Zhengda were September 25th to 26th, with classes starting on the 27th. Along with the enrollment notice, there was also a sheet of important information for new students, reminding them to bring daily necessities, household registration transfer certificates, grain and oil relationship transfer certificates, and commodity supply relationship documents, noting the original supply stop date. Starting in October, the school would provide supplies. Out-of-town students could also use this notice to claim travel expenses from the local education department, calculated based on hard-seat train tickets, ordinary bus tickets, or the lowest class of boat tickets. Finally, there was a standard for student subsidies from Zhengda. The monthly living allowance was 14 yuan, which was fixed for everyone, plus an additional 4 to 7.5 yuan in grants, depending on each student's situation. However, this didn't matter much to Su Mo, as she already had a formal job before the college entrance exam and could attend school with a salary, meaning her workplace was paying for her further education. Su Mo guessed this policy was to ease the financial pressure on the education department, considering the large number of college students requiring monthly living subsidies. Calculating at 18 yuan per person, if 300,000 students were admitted, it would cost 5.4 million yuan monthly for living subsidies, totaling 64.8 million yuan a year, which was a significant expense. Su Mo held a relatively high position at her workplace, so even if she received the minimum salary while studying, she would still get 45 yuan a month. The policy stated that the salary for students studying with pay must be at least 50% of their original salary and no less than 18 yuan. After all, students needed to be well-fed to have the energy to study. If they were starving, how could they learn? However, Su Mo estimated that this policy would likely change in a year or 2. After all, the heads of various workplaces weren't foolish. Why would they pay salaries to people who weren't working? Once students graduated, the government would arrange jobs, but who knew if they would be placed back at their original workplace? Who would want to spend money to support someone else? On the day Su Mo received her notice, Lu Chongzhen called home to share the good news. Lu Xiaolan's score was also checked by someone, coming in at 334 points, which secured her place at the teacher training college she applied to. Hearing this, Lu Qing'an was so happy that tears welled up in his eyes. After hanging up, he rode his bike to the county, bought 2 strings of firecrackers, 3 pounds of pork, 3 pounds of lamb, and a big fat chicken. When he got home, he called Li Yue back from the field to cook, as he wanted to celebrate that night. His family, the Liu family, had produced 2 college students, one of whom was even the top student. What a huge celebration! That evening, the Liu family set up 2 tables, inviting close relatives and respected people from the village to join in the festivities. During dinner, Liu Qing'an even asked Liu Xingjuan to take a break to set off the firecrackers. Seeing Liu Qing'an so happy, Li Yue teased him after everyone left. "You're so happy. If someone didn't know better, they'd think you got into college too." "I'm happy because my daughter got into college. I wonder who will dare to say anything against her now," Liu Qing'an said, feeling quite tipsy and unintentionally revealing his thoughts. "Wife, you don't know how worried I've been. I only have one daughter, and she's already 26, still without a partner and divorced. What will happen in the future? Even though she's with the 3rd couple, they won't mistreat her. But over time, they might grow tired of her. Now it's different. She got into college herself, and after graduation, the government will arrange a job for her. College graduates usually get good jobs, and even if she doesn't settle down in the future, her life won't be too bad. If she can find someone at school, anyone would be better than that Yang Jingming," Liu Qing'an said before falling asleep. Li Yue didn't expect Liu Qing'an had been worried all along. Usually, when she brought up Liu Xiaolan's marriage, he would tell her not to worry too much, that their children would have their own blessings, but he had hidden his concerns so deeply. Seeing Liu Qing'an snoring on the bed, Li Yue covered him with a blanket and went back to her tasks. The next day happened to be a meeting day at the commune. Liu Qing'an specially brought 2 packs of good cigarettes that Su and Mo had sent during the New Year. As soon as he arrived at the meeting room, he distributed them around. "Wow, Secretary Liu, giving out such good cigarettes. Is there some good news at home? Are you becoming a grandfather again?" Liu Qing'an smiled and waved his hand. "No, I've been a grandfather too many times to celebrate with such good cigarettes. My daughter-in-law and daughter both got into university. My daughter-in-law is the top science student in Guangdong province and got into the best school there. My daughter missed home, so she applied here and got into the normal college in Harbin." Everyone congratulated him, whether sincerely or not. They had to show face. With such achievements, why didn't they apply to Beijing University or Huazhong University? What good universities are there in Guangdong? Someone questioned. At that time, information was not well communicated, and many people in the north knew little about the south. In their eyes, the only good schools were Beijing University and Huazhong University. All others were just average.
Exactly. I thought the same.
It's a shame not to apply to those 2 schools. But my son and grandchildren are all in Guangzhou, and my daughter-in-law couldn't bear to leave them, so they applied nearby. I heard from my 3rd child that that school is also very good, only slightly less than Beijing University and Huazhong University. I've never been to university, so I don't know. I just listen to how the kids choose. Researcher Sue is so capable, she can shine anywhere. Since our team started using the seeds and fertilization methods she developed, our vegetable production has increased year after year, bringing a lot of benefits to the team. Everyone in the commune knew Su Mo, as she had worked there for over a year. Exactly. Gold will shine no matter where it is. Getting into university is an excellent achievement. Any school is good, as they all contribute to the country. Secretary Liu, your daughter got into the normal college, so she will become a teacher after graduation, right? University graduates are sure to be assigned to high schools, someone asked. Now that the college entrance exam had been relaxed, people were starting to value education again. Historically, for children from poor families, the simplest way to succeed was through education. Oh, it's not that easy. The country assigns where you go, and we just follow the arrangements, Liu Qing'an replied with a smile. While chatting and laughing with others, he secretly observed Yang Jingming and his father-in-law hiding in the corner, feeling quite pleased. Over the years, these 2 had often made things difficult for him, but now he felt relieved. Yang Jingming sat in the corner, looking gloomy. He never expected Liu Xiaolan would get into university and become an enviable student. Was Liu Xiaolan really this outstanding? Hundreds of thousands took the exam, and only a few tens of thousands were accepted, yet she got in. Since their divorce, it seemed their lives had switched. She was doing better while he was getting worse. He was already 28, nearing 30, and had been married for 3 years without having children. The issue of children had strained the relationship between his mother and wife, leading to constant arguments at home. He was caught in the middle, making it difficult for him. Neither of his wives had become pregnant, and he privately suspected himself. He even went to a hospital in Harbin for a checkup, but the results were normal. His mother blamed his wife, saying their family must have bad luck, marrying 2 women who couldn't have children. However, his wife also got checked and seemed fine. She had taken various fertility medications, but nothing worked. So, they blamed his family, thinking they must have done something wrong in the past that affected their fortune, leading to childlessness. The 2 women often exchanged sarcastic remarks, creating a chaotic atmosphere at home. He was busy dealing with their conflicts and had no energy for serious work. Since Liu Chongjing helped him get a promotion a few years ago, he hadn't moved up since. He thought about using connections, but the current leader of Shuangshan City was Geng Chongqing, and no one dared to act. His sister-in-law's family was also declining, and he feared that in a few years there would be no connections left to use. Sometimes, he wondered if his life would be different if he had stubbornly refused to divorce Liu Xiaolan. The news of Su Mo and Liu Xiaolan getting into university quickly spread throughout the Liu family village, and Ma Xiaowan naturally heard about it. Tao Peixing also asked someone to check her results. They weren't great but not bad either, estimating she could get into a junior college. The current dilemma was that her due date was around late September to early October, which coincided with the registration period for most schools. If the baby came early, it would be manageable. She could endure it, skip the confinement period, and take the baby with her to school. The school she applied to was in Harbin, not far from her in-laws' home, so she could leave the baby with them during the day and take care of it at night. But if the baby came during her registration period or after school started, it would be a problem. Her in-laws suggested that once she received the acceptance letter, her father-in-law could talk to the school about deferring her admission for a year. This way, she could focus on giving birth and resting, and later, she could take care of the baby before starting school without so much stress. Ma Xiaowan felt very conflicted. Deferring for a year was an option, but she preferred to take the exam again next year, hoping to get into a better school. During her pregnancy, she had severe symptoms that affected her performance, and she didn't do well this year. She and Jiangyu started studying at the same time, and their levels were similar, but Jiangyu scored a few dozen points higher and would likely get into a bachelor's program. However, she worried that next year they might not allow her to take the exam again, or she might perform worse than this year. She often heard her mother say that pregnancy could make someone dull for 3 years. What if her condition didn't improve after giving birth? Ma Xiaowan was deeply troubled. Knowing that Su Mo had a wide network, she decided to call her for advice. After listening to Ma Xiaozhuan's concerns, Su Mo didn't give immediate advice, but explained the current situation, leaving the choice up to her. Xiaowan, since the college entrance exam has been reopened, it won't be stopped again, so you can rest assured. Next year's exam will have more candidates than this year, but the number of admissions will also increase. The test will likely be harder, but there will be more practice questions available. Even though the notice was sent out in February, many university teachers were still busy with other work, so this year's exam preparation was not very thorough, resulting in a lower acceptance rate. But whether or not to take the exam again is secondary. The key is your determination. If you have the courage to go all in and decide to take the exam again, then don't worry about anything else. After the baby is born and you finish your confinement, focus on studying hard. If you have too many worries, I suggest you defer your admission. There's no need to take the exam again because often, failure comes from a pile of excuses. I'll have Xiaolan take my study notes back for you when she comes home. You can also ask team leader Tao for his opinion before making a decision. At the end of August, the rescue work in Tang City came to a pause, and the volunteers from other places began to leave one after another. Although there had been early warnings, tens of thousands of people still died, and many were missing. Despite the tragic situation, Su Mo felt relieved when she saw the official report of the numbers. Compared to the recorded figure of over 200,000, at least over 100,000 lives were saved. Liu Xiaolan, as a logistics worker, was among the last to leave. The children she cared for chased her to the entrance of the shelter with tearful eyes. "Teacher Lu, will you come back to see us?" The children cried. They were reluctant to part with Teacher Lu, who was always so gentle, telling them stories, making clothes, cooking delicious food, and teaching them important life lessons. "Yes, study hard, and write to me when you can. I will come to see you when I have time," Lu Xiaolan replied. During her years in Yang City, she listened to many stories that Su and Mo told the children. Plus, Lele, a child who loved to share, often shared stories with Lu Xiaolan before bed. After hearing so many stories, Lu Xiaolan remembered them all. Today's children have very little spiritual nourishment, and Lu Xiaolan's stories opened a new door for them. The children in the shelter looked forward to hearing her stories every day. "Okay, we will study hard and write to you," the children said tearfully. After saying goodbye to the children with tears in her eyes, Lu Xiaolan resolutely turned and boarded the military vehicle that would take them to the station. She couldn't stay there. She had her own path to follow. This experience made Lu Xiaolan finally plan her career. In the past, work was just a way for her to earn a living. As long as she got paid, she would take any job without much thought or planning. But now, things were different. In this month, watching the children's sadness and fear fade away under her guidance and companionship, replaced by smiles, she felt a sense of accomplishment for the first time and understood the meaning of teaching. Everyone left separately this time. There was no express train. Lu Xiaolan returned to Yang City 4 days later. It was already the last day of August. When she appeared in the family area with her luggage, those who knew her felt she had changed, but they couldn't pinpoint how. She just seemed to shine. Wang Suimei was in the yard drying things. When she saw Lu Xiaolan returning from a distance, she excitedly shouted, "Xiaolan, you're back. How is Tang City now? Are the arrangements okay?" As she hurried over, she paused when she got close, looking Lu Xiaolan up and down. "Xiaolan, you've tanned and lost weight, but somehow you seem different." Lu Xiaolan was taken aback. "Sister Wang, what's different?" "I'm still me. I can't say exactly, but you just seem, how to put it, more spirited." "Oh no, that's not right. I'm not articulate. You just look better than before." Seeing Wang Suimei's flustered expression, Lu Xiaolan couldn't help but laugh. "Thank you, Sister Wang. Things in Tang City are mostly settled now. The country sent 100,000 soldiers to help with disaster relief, and Tang City will soon start rebuilding. In a few years, there will be a new Tang City." That's great, Wang Suimei said. "I heard your sister say you got into college and your acceptance letter arrived yesterday." "Really? That's wonderful." Lu Xiaolan sighed with relief, thinking that if she hadn't passed this year, she would try again next year. After chatting with Wang Suimei for a bit, Lu Xiaolan went home. Once home, Lu Xiaolan took a shower, washed the clothes and blankets she brought back, and then took some taro from the kitchen to make taro strips for the two kids. Taro strips are a snack from Guangdong province. The taro is grated into strips, formed into a ball, dipped in batter, and fried until crispy and delicious. The two kids loved them, and she often made them. Now that she had received her acceptance letter, she planned to return to Lujia village in a few days. She feared she wouldn't see the kids for a while, so she wanted to make them one last treat. Soon, the kitchen was filled with the aroma of fried taro strips. In the evening, the two kids returned with Lu Chongjing. When they saw Lu Xiaolan, they were overjoyed. Lele ran over like a little cannonball. "Auntie, why didn't you tell us you were coming back? We could have waited for you at home." Lu Xiaolan patted Lele's head. "I didn't know when I would arrive, so I didn't want to delay your training. Go wash your hands quickly. Auntie made fried taro strips for you." Lele cheered and hurried to wash his hands, eager to eat. He had trained all afternoon and was very hungry. The two kids had just turned 4, so Su and Mo stopped sending them to daycare. When there were arrangements from Commander Su, they would go learn. Otherwise, they stayed home. For lunch, they were given meal tickets to eat at the family canteen. However, since they stopped going to daycare, the two kids spent little time at home. They either had arrangements with Commander Su or were taken by Liu Chongjing for training. Earlier this month, Liu Chongjing took the two kids for outdoor survival training. After a week away, they returned looking like refugees, dirty, with messy hair and plenty of bug bites. Lele tearfully complained to Su and Mo that Liu Chongjing didn't give him food and made him eat bugs. When Liu Chongjing returned, he was careful around Su and Mo, afraid she would be upset with him. However, Su and Mo was understanding. After all, to wear the crown, one must bear its weight. Some things are better learned early. A little girl like Xiaoya could survive on the mountain for months without adult supervision. The two kids would need to understand much more than others in their future paths. Learning how to survive in the wild was an essential skill for them. As for concerns about the kids being too young and that hunger was bad for their health, those were not on Sumo's mind. Not to mention that the two kids were special abilities users, so their physical fitness was already stronger than that of ordinary people. Even if they did experience hunger, the food she provided would help them recover over time. Today is Sumo's last day at work. In the afternoon, the Foreign Trade Center held a farewell party for those who got into university. This time, over 10 people from the Foreign Trade Center took the college entrance exam, and 5 were accepted, with Su and Mo having the highest position and the best grades. Many people don't quite understand Sumo's decision. At a young age, she became a director, right at the peak of her career. Many believe she should take advantage of this momentum, work hard, and aim for even higher positions, rather than stepping back now to attend university. In recent years, the center has received university graduates, but who has been directly assigned to a director position? If Su Emo studies for 4 years, she might only return to her original position. However, if she continues working for 4 more years, given her abilities and promotion speed, she might have moved up even further.
So, why take the risk?
Despite this, they still admire Su Emo. After all, not everyone can be a top scorer. Having a science top scorer from their Foreign Trade Center brings them pride. After the farewell party, the center's leaders specifically sought out Su Emo to tell her to focus on her studies, assuring her that they would always keep a position for her when she returns. The Foreign Trade Center is a desirable place to work, and many people want to be employed there. In recent years, with the government's encouragement, more people have been learning English. By the time Su Emo graduates, her position may no longer be available. After all, the government's requirement for university graduates is to go to the most difficult places, to where the country needs them the most. If there are no positions available at the center during the job allocation, and they don't actively seek her out, the Labor Employment Bureau will allocate jobs according to their principles. Su Emo has both ability and connections, and the leaders are willing to help her. Grateful for the leaders' kindness, Su Emo expressed her thanks, even though she doesn't plan to return after graduation. She mentioned that if they need her during trade fairs, they can always reach out, and she'll come to help. When she got home, she was happy to see Lu Xiaolan had returned. Although Lu Xiaolan looked a bit thinner, her overall spirit was much better than before. Su Emo had read some motivational literature that said only by experiencing hardship can one elevate their life. So, has Lu Xiaolan elevated herself? Lu Xiaolan School is a college, with a later enrollment date than Su Mo's, from October 2nd to 3rd, and classes starting on the 4th. So Lu Xiaolan stayed in Yangqing a few more days, and together with Su Emo, took the two kids to explore the area, taking many photos to develop quickly to show to the elders when they returned. On the morning of September 5th, Lu Xiaolan boarded the train home with a large bag. Seeing her brother and sister-in-law on the platform made her eyes a bit misty. In the past, she had come to Yangqing with her sister-in-law to avoid trouble. But after more than 3 years, her life had changed significantly. She had not only seen the world but also became an admired university student. Her brother and sister-in-law were truly her benefactors. Without them, she might still be struggling in a hopeless marriage at Hongqi Commune. After the train left, Su Emo and the others finally departed. "Dad, will Auntie come back?" Lele asked. "Maybe. If you miss her, we can go visit her. Will we take a plane again?" If they took a train, he might not feel the same way. Yes, we will take a plane. Previously, planes were under military control, and tickets were only sold to those with status. Recently, there have been internal reports that planes might be open to civilians, so anyone who can afford a ticket can fly. Once they left the train station, Sue Mo began to observe the square. It only took a few minutes to walk from the train station to the parking lot, and Sue Mo already spotted 3 people carrying bamboo baskets. 2 of them had successfully made sales, one selling tea eggs and the other selling large pancakes. These people were trading openly, showing that the atmosphere had indeed relaxed a lot. Sue Mo estimated that in no more than 2 years, the government would allow individual businesses to exist. As for private factories and companies, that might take a bit longer. The next day, Lu Chongjing took the 2 kids with him to the team, saying that experts in disguise had come and the kids could attend some classes. With no work and no kids to take care of, Sumo rode her bike around to explore. She visited several large factory housing areas and noticed there were indeed many middlemen, then headed to Gaudi Street. Gaudi Street is a bustling commercial street in Yangcheng, rich in history, where many old brands had their headquarters. When individual businesses began to rise, it became a gathering place for them. Sue Mo came here to familiarize herself with the area and to try her luck. In recent years, many people had started to be rehabilitated, so there might be some returning individuals looking to sell their shops. The shops on Gaudi Street are characterized by the unique arcade style of Yangcheng. The first floor is for shops, while the second and third floors are for living. The arcade is a feature of Guangdong province, similar to modern townhouses. All the shops are built together, with the front part open, creating a long corridor for customers to shop comfortably and leisurely. Sue Mo had long noticed these arcades and had visited them occasionally during her years in Yangcheng. Of course, she claimed to be looking for relatives and had become familiar with many locals here. As soon as Sue Mo entered, Grandma Sue, who was resting under the archway, asked little Sue, "Are you here to find someone again?" "Yes, Grandma Sue." "Has anyone returned recently?" Sue Mo stepped forward and handed Grandma Sue a small bag of pomegranates. "Here, I brought you some fruit." "No need to be so polite," Grandma Sue said with a smile as she accepted it. Then she told Sue Mo about a few families that had recently returned, hoping they might be her relatives. Grandma Sue is a local and was a capitalist daughter in her youth. A large portion of the shops on Gaudi Street belonged to her family. Initially, she decisively handed over most of her family's assets to preserve 2 buildings on this street for living. The 2 buildings at the front of Gaudi Street are her family's. When the movement started, her family was also affected, but Grandma Sue had the courage to give up many things to protect her family. Now, her children work in nearby factories, and Grandma Sue spends her time taking care of her grandchildren. Once the grandchildren went to school, she used her connections to get a public phone, spending her time at the archway answering calls and chatting with neighbors, making her the most well-informed person on Gaudi Street. Sue Mo valued Suapa for her connections and initially tried to get close to her to become familiar with her and some of the old neighbors. When someone wants to sell an arcade house, she could leverage her relationship to gain an advantage. After thanking Suapa, Sue Mo rode her bike into the area. She first visited the arcade houses Suapa mentioned. Sure enough, the neighbors who had previously lived there had moved out. Compared to the surrounding buildings, these houses returned to their owners looked much cleaner. There were no various items cluttering the entrance, and the windows on the second and third floors were free of hanging clothes. When she reached the last building, Sue Mo saw an elderly man with gray hair and a slightly hunched back clearing out items on the first floor. Previously, these arcade houses had been lent to nearby factories as dormitories when the owners were sent away. The second and third floors were occupied, while the first floor had been turned into a communal kitchen. Sue Mo approached the old man and used the excuse she had prepared to strike up a conversation. "Sir, can I ask you about someone? Do you know Su Cheng? He came here from High City to do business." The old man looked at Sue Mo with suspicion. "He's my relative. I haven't been able to contact him for years. My family has moved to Yang City, so I came to inquire about him." Seeing Sue Mo's sincerity and that she was just a young girl who didn't seem like a bad person, the old man relaxed. Due to her special abilities, Suemo still looked quite youthful. After all these years, she appeared no different from a 16 or 17-year-old girl. Is the Su Chung you mentioned the one who deals in fabrics? The old man spoke, revealing a distinct accent from Lu province.
什么?
Could it be that the person she made up actually exists? She had fabricated this person thinking that local merchants typically don't have deep connections with outsiders, but it turned out this old man was also from elsewhere. I'm not sure what business he's in, but I know he has a shop on Gaudi Street. If it's that Su Chung, he was initially sent to Heiyu Island. You can ask someone there to find out if he's still alive. Thank you, sir. This is the first solid information I've gotten after so long, Suemo said, parking her bike and helping the old man clear out the items. The old man waved his hand. No need to help, young lady. I'll finish this soon, and I don't want to dirty your clothes. Suemo was wearing a floral shirt that wasn't very stain-resistant. It's fine, sir. I can wash my clothes later. You've given me such important information. The least I can do is help you a bit. Seeing Sumo's insistence, the old man didn't refuse any longer. As they worked together, they chatted about their lives. She learned that the old man had come to Yang City from Lu province during the war and had eventually made a name for himself, marrying the daughter of a rice merchant. With support from his father-in-law, he rented a shop on Gaudi Street, and his business flourished. However, his father-in-law fell victim to scheming and was sent away, dragging his family down with him. Now, after all these years, everything had changed, and he was the only one left alive. Just like the shop, which once held so much hope for him, now it was darkened by smoke and stained with grease. Once they finished, the old man said, "You should send someone to inquire soon. If he's still alive, try to find a way to bring him back. The second shop from the right is his." "Thank you, sir." The old man waved his hand and suddenly remembered something. After he came here, he changed his name to Su Yunsheng. If you're looking for him, check both names. No wonder this young girl hadn't found him after so many years. "Thank you so much, sir. I'll head back now and come to see you again," Sumo said, having done quite a bit of work and getting dusty. She planned to go home, take a shower, and then return to chat more. The old man waved his hand. "No need to come back. I'll finish cleaning up in a couple of days and then return to my hometown. I probably won't be back here again." This place held too many painful memories for him, reminding him of his lost wife and children. He wanted to leave and go back home, where he still had siblings, though he wasn't sure if they were still alive. When he was exonerated, his food rationing was also transferred back to his hometown. He returned to Yang City to tidy up and secure the place, so it wouldn't be damaged again. Suemo didn't expect to be so lucky to meet him so easily, and she wondered if the old man would be willing to sell. After thinking for a moment, she asked, "Sir, if you're not coming back, could you sell me this arcade house? To be honest, my parents are currently living in a staff dormitory, which is not a good environment. They can't even cook their meals and have to eat in the cafeteria. I've been wanting to find them a proper place, but I haven't found anything suitable. I think this arcade house looks good. I can have it repainted, and it should be very comfortable to live in. If you ever want to come back and visit, you can stay here." The old man had no savings after so many years of being sent away. The few $100s he had were compensation he received during his exoneration. After deducting travel expenses and the cost of settling back in, he wouldn't have much left. He was worried about how to support himself when he returned. His health had deteriorated, and he likely wouldn't be able to do any heavy work. If he could sell the arcade house, it would provide him with some financial security.
Are houses allowed to be sold now?
Sumo's eyes lit up at this. There was hope. They can't be sold, but they can be gifted. "Sir, I can give you the money privately, and you can give me the deed and write a gift letter. I'll find someone to change the ownership later." "That's not impossible. How much are you planning to give me?" The old man was straightforward about not planning to return. "Sir, you've helped me a lot. Please give me a price, and I'll do my best to meet it." Suemo had some understanding of the current housing prices in Yang City. Although private sales weren't allowed, public ones were. The current price was about 15 yuan per square meter. This arcade house was roughly 100 square meters per floor, with 3 floors in total. Su Mo thought a price of around 4,000 yuan would be fair. The old man pondered for a while and cautiously asked, I bought this arcade house for 3,000 yuan. Would 3,000 be acceptable? Su Mo frowned slightly. That was 1,000 yuan less than her expected price. The old man seemed like an honest person, but was she really getting a bargain? Or should she offer him a fair price? Seeing her frown, the old man guessed that 3,000 might be too high, especially since not everyone could easily come up with that amount these days. If you think it's too high, we can negotiate further. Hearing this, Su Mo realized that 3,000 was his ideal price, and she decided to take the opportunity. Sir, you provided me with information about my relative. I can't thank you enough, so I'll accept your price. When would be convenient for you? I can go home to get the money and you can prepare the paperwork so I can handle the formalities? The old man didn't expect the price he casually mentioned would actually be accepted. He was from a rural area in Lu province, and with this 3,000 yuan, he wouldn't have to worry for at least 10 years. If he could still do business, this building would definitely be sold for less, but now it could only be used for living, so the price was indeed a bit high. Girl, why don't you go back and discuss it with your parents? If there are any issues, we can talk again, the old man suggested after thinking for a moment. The old man was so honest that Su Mo felt a bit embarrassed and quickly replied, It's fine. I can make the decision. I've looked at other houses, and they're about the same price. If it's a bit more, consider our thanks for the information you provided. Seeing Su Mo's straightforwardness, the old man didn't say anything more, as he really needed the money. The girl's clothing showed she came from a well-off family, so he could take a little advantage. Thank you, girl. I'll be here for the next 2 or 3 days, so you can come by any time. Su Mo asked for the old man's name, and he introduced himself as Chen Yoxin. Okay, Uncle Chen, I'll come by tomorrow. Let's get the paperwork done quickly, so we can both feel at ease. After finalizing the deal with Uncle Chen, Su Mo rode her bike out. When she passed the archway, Grandma Su asked Little Su, Did you find it? I got some news.
Oh.
Where did you hear that? Grandma Su was a bit curious. She knew most of the businesses on the street and had never heard of anyone named Su Cheng from Haisher. She thought Su Mo might have made it up, but it turned out there really was such a person. At that time, Haisher was much more prosperous than Yangqing, and very few people from Haisher came to Yangqing to do business. It was from the old man at shop 66. He said my relative changed his name to Su Yunsheng after coming here, and is in the fabric business. Grandma Su thought for a moment and seemed to recall someone like that, a young man who had run away from home. But she remembered he was from Fujian province, so she was surprised he had hidden his identity. No wonder he hid his identity. Otherwise, I would have known and wouldn't have searched for so long. It's fine. I'm just glad I found him. Thank you, Grandma Su. No need to be so polite. I didn't really help much. Grandma Su waved her hand. After saying goodbye to Grandma Su, Su Mo rode her bike to school. After the college entrance exam, professors were busy preparing for the new students throughout the summer, making teaching plans and organizing courses. Su Tingqian, who taught at a key university, had students recommended by workers and farmers before, so their educational backgrounds varied. The content taught to freshmen was quite basic, even including some high school material. Now, the new students had passed the college entrance exam, ensuring a certain level of education, so the teaching content couldn't be the same as before. Thus, professors held meetings every few days to discuss teaching materials. The couple spent most of the summer at the university. Mo Yulong and the dormitory staff were also busy cleaning the dorms and arranging the beds and desks. Overall, the entire university seemed to have come back to life. When Su Mo arrived at school, it was already afternoon. Mo Yulong was in the dormitory, wiping down the newly arranged iron bunk beds. She was surprised to see Su Mo. Mo, what brings you here? Su Mo grabbed a cloth and helped Mo Yulong while sharing that she had bought a building on Gaudi Street. Since Mo Yulong was responsible for cleaning this floor, Su Mo kept her voice low, not worried about others overhearing. Mo, did you buy the house for yourself? Mo Yulong asked. If it was to provide housing for them, it wouldn't be necessary. She understood from Tingqian that he planned to resign in a year, and they would return to Haishur. No, I bought it for business, Su Mo replied. She planned to persuade Su Tingqian to stay in Guangdong for a while since it would be a pioneer in the reform and opening up. Reviving the Su family's old business would be more beneficial in Guangdong than returning to Haishur. Mom, when Dad comes back, I'll discuss it with him. I think it's better for you both to stay in Yangqing for now, and when the time is right, we can return to Haishur. As long as you two have discussed it, I'll follow your lead, Mo Yulong said. To her, it didn't matter where they were, as long as her husband and daughter were together. Mo, do you have enough money for the house? Your dad and I have some, you can take it. No need, keep your money. I've saved quite a bit myself. Excluding the 50,000 yuan from Luo Yuan, she had saved over 15,000 yuan over the years. After helping Mo Yulong finish the chores, Su Mo said she would come back tomorrow to update her and then rode home. On the way, she encountered a vendor and bought a pound of pork to make braised pork for the two kids. That evening, Su Mo told Lu Changzheng about buying the building, and he had no objections. He only needed to hand over his salary and bonuses to his wife. How she arranged things was up to her, and he supported her. The next day, Su Mo took the money and went to Gaudi Street early again. After giving the money to Uncle Chen, she received the property deed and gift letter for the 3-story building. Uncle Chen, please count the money to make sure it's correct. Uncle Chen waved his hand. I trust you. Girl, go change the property deed. While I'm still here, if you need my help, just let me know. Okay, I'll go now. Uncle, when you go back to Lu Province, I can help you buy a train ticket for a sleeper. It'll be more comfortable. Uncle Chen smiled. All right, then I'll trouble you with that. Over the years, Su Mo had built many connections. After getting the documents, she found someone, gave them 2 packs of cigarettes, and within the morning, she had the property deed changed to the new format, with her as the owner. After changing the property deed, Su Mo went to the department store to buy some milk powder and 2 sets of clothes, and in a secluded corner, she picked up some fruit to take to Uncle Chen. Uncle Chen's clothes were already very worn, and he didn't look well. Seeing Su Mo return with things, Chen Yoshin was a bit surprised. Girl, did something go wrong? Do you need me to help with anything? Su Mo waved her hand. No, Uncle Chen, the property deed is already done. You provided information about my relative, and my parents are very grateful. They asked me to buy some things to show their appreciation. How can I accept this? It was just a small favor. You buying my building has already helped me a lot. Uncle, business is business. We bought this building because we needed a place to live. After some back and forth, Uncle Chen finally accepted the gifts, expressing his gratitude for meeting good people. With everything settled and no need to tidy up the house, Uncle Chen decided to return to Lu Province the next day. The sooner he returned, the sooner he could settle down and start his life anew. When Su Mo learned this, she immediately rode her bike to take Uncle Chen to the train station to buy a ticket. Gaudi Street was very close to the newly built train station, just a 20 to 30-minute bike ride. Since Su Mo was a paid student and her work permit hadn't been taken away, she easily bought a sleeper ticket. She also secretly slipped 2 cans of cream to the ticket seller to arrange a lower bunk. After giving the ticket to Uncle Chen, Su Mo thought about coming the next day to see him off, but he refused. Girl, I've already troubled you too much. You don't need to come tomorrow. When I get back, I'll give you the key to the door. That house is already yours. I'll pack my things and go to the guest house near the train station. Uncle Chen, please.
Just stay here tonight.
Not just tonight. If you ever miss this place, you can come back anytime. We can consider ourselves family. Uncle Chen waved his hand. No, this place is no longer my home. I'm just staying here for convenience while I pack. Now that I've sold the house to you, I won't linger. You take care of it. I really don't want to stay in this sad place any longer. Seeing Uncle Chen say this, Su Mo didn't insist further and rode him back to the building. At the door, Uncle Chen handed the key to Su Mo. Su Mo opened the door, and they both went inside. She had already cleaned the first floor with Uncle Chen yesterday and had seen it. The area had been converted into a communal kitchen, and although the street office had found someone to remove the renovations before returning it, some smoke stains remained after years, so it would take effort to renovate it again. The second and third floors were converted into dormitories for workers, with 2 sets of 2 bedrooms and a living room on each floor. Many walls were built, making the original layout a mess. It's okay, there's a bus, and it's easy for me to get back myself, Lu Xiaolan said. Sister-in-law, I'll borrow your bicycle to go home first. In the evening, let my brother come to pick you up.
Hey.
Why borrow? Wait a moment, I'll ask for leave and take you back, Lu Yuji said as she walked inside to find the director to request time off. In mid-September, the various teams in the commune had started the autumn harvest. This was the quietest time for the supply and marketing cooperative, so taking half an afternoon off wasn't a big deal. Lu Yuji was at the counter closest to the door. When Lu Xiaolan entered, she headed straight for Lu Yuji, not walking further inside, so no one else noticed her. When Lu Yuji walked in, everyone finally looked over. Xiaolan, you're back. A female colleague who had a good relationship with Lu Xiaolan rushed over. You're amazing. You got into university. She had seen the newspaper and heard that 5.7 million people took the college entrance exam, but only about 280,000 were accepted. Saying it was like crossing a narrow bridge amidst a sea of people was not an exaggeration. Lu Xiaolan smiled. I was lucky to have my third brother and sister-in-law. They provided me with all the books and practice questions, and my sister-in-law tutored me for over half a year. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have passed. Hearing this, her colleague felt envious. If she had such siblings, she might also become a university student that everyone admired. Now that Lu Xiaolan was a university student, she would be different from them. Other colleagues gathered around. Seeing so many familiar faces made Lu Xiaolan feel happy, and she greeted everyone cheerfully. The colleagues relaxed when they saw that even though Lu Xiaolan was now a university student, she was still the same as before, and they all chatted warmly. When they heard that Lu Xiaolan had also volunteered in Tang City, everyone admired her even more. After all, talking about contribution is one thing, but actually doing it is another. The director of the supply and marketing cooperative heard Lu Yuji mention Lu Xiaolan's return and immediately approved her leave, coming out to congratulate Lu Xiaolan. The director was quite perceptive and knew that the first few batches of university students after the college entrance exam resumed would definitely be entrusted with important responsibilities by the country after graduation. He naturally wanted to maintain a good relationship with someone like her. After chatting with everyone for about half an hour, Lu Xiaolan finally went home with Lu Yuji. When they returned, there was no one at home. The autumn harvest started yesterday, and everyone is in the fields now. Since Grandpa's health has improved, he doesn't want to rest at home. He's probably busy with his vegetable group, Lu Yuji said. Xiaolan, you rest first. I'll go to the fields and call them back. Lu Xiaolan quickly stopped her. Sister-in-law, no. Everyone is working. I'm back and can stay home for 10 to 20 days, so there's no rush. Suddenly, Lu Yuji was so polite and warm to her that Lu Xiaolan felt a bit uneasy. Oh, dear, look at my mind. I'm just so happy to see you back, Lu Yuji said, tapping her forehead. Then I won't go call them, she said, helping Lu Xiaolan with her luggage back to the room where she used to sleep. Xiaolan, come in and rest. You must be tired from the journey. My sister-in-law called to say you got on the train, and Mom cleaned your room. You rest first. I'll go heat water for you to take a bath, and then I'll make you a bowl of noodles. After putting down her things, Lu Yuji quickly went out, and Lu Xiaolan didn't have time to stop her. In a little while, Lu Yuji came to call Lu Xiaolan, saying the water was ready, and she should hurry to wash up. Lu Xiaolan had never enjoyed such high treatment before, and felt a bit awkward. Sister-in-law, I can carry it myself. It's just a small task. Hurry and wash up. It's so hot, and you've been on the train for so long. You need to freshen up, Lu Yuji said with a smile. Feeling sweaty and uncomfortable, Lu Xiaolan quickly went to wash. When Lu Xiaolan finished and came out, Lu Yuji had already cooked the noodles. She made thin noodles and fried 2 golden eggs. Lu Yuji brought the noodles to the dining table and called out to Lu Xiaolan, "Xiaolan, hurry, the noodles are just cooked. Eat them while they're hot, or they'll get mushy." It's a custom here to eat noodles after getting off the train, and Lu Xiaolan was indeed a bit hungry, so she went over to eat.
Thank you, sister-in-law.
Don't mention it, just eat quickly. You're back today, and tonight our whole family will have dinner together. I'll go cook, Lu Yuji said as she went out again. In a little while, Lu Xiaolan heard a chicken crowing. When she went out to check, Lu Yuji was preparing to kill a chicken by the well in the yard. Sister-in-law, why are you killing a chicken? You're back, and there's no meat at home. The supply and marketing cooperative hasn't brought any meat these days. Killing a chicken isn't a big deal. We've been able to raise chickens by head count for the past 2 years, and I have 5 chickens at home. Oh, I'm not an outsider. I'll eat whatever is at home, just like before. That won't do. You're a university student now. Lu Xiaolan. No matter what I am, I'm still my parents' daughter and your sister-in-law, Lu Xiaolan sighed. But just going to university didn't mean she needed to be treated like royalty. Sister-in-law, please let the chicken go. Lu Yuji looked a bit embarrassed. Since I've caught it, I might as well kill it. It's autumn harvest now, and it's good to nourish everyone. The autumn harvest has just started. Let's wait a while before killing it, Lu Xiaolan said, seeing Lu Yuji still wanting to kill the chicken. It's not good to be too showy right now. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuji was startled, and she loosened her grip on the chicken's wing. The hen squawked and quickly ran away, escaping from danger. Look at my mind. I'm just so happy that I've become confused. Then, let's just have something simple for dinner. You rest, and I'll go cook, Lu Yuji said. Lu Xiaolan naturally couldn't just rest. After finishing her noodles, she went to help Lu Yuji cook. Although she said to keep it simple, Lu Yuji still took out white flour, steamed plain buns, and fried a big plate of eggs. Even the vegetables were stir-fried with meat oil. When the children came home from school and saw Lu Xiaolan, they were overjoyed. Since the college entrance exam resumed, education had been emphasized again, and the children didn't have time off during the busy farming season. Aunt, I scored 83 on my recent test. The teacher said I've made great progress. I will study hard and get into university like you, Lu Guodong said, pulling out his test paper to show Lu Xiaolan. And me. My recent homework has all been graded as excellent, Lu Aiqin chimed in, not wanting to be outdone.
And me. And me.
All 5 children eagerly showed Lu Xiaolan their grades. Lu Xiaolan and Su Mo getting into university was often talked about by Lu Qing'an, who also tempted the younger generation, saying that good grades would earn rewards. When Lu Guodong got an excellent score on a test at the start of school, Lu Qing'an indeed rewarded him with 10 cents. This deeply motivated the younger generation to study. Now, when the children came home from school, they weren't thinking about playing. Instead, they hurried to finish their homework so they could show it to Grandpa for checking. As long as they did well, they would earn a piece of candy as a reward. After finishing her tasks for the day, Li Yue hurried to record her work points with the team leader and rushed home to cook. Even though the children kept telling her not to do such hard work, she felt she should contribute as long as she could. Today, she earned 7 work points. Her family didn't have many workers. Only she and the family of the second child worked full-time in the production team. The eldest was busy with his job at the credit station and had to take half a day off every week for meetings. If something came up at the credit union, he had to take time off to help out since he received a salary from them. Although her father earned work points in a side job, he was older now and had been ill a couple of times. Although he had recovered, he wasn't as strong as before and could only do limited work. As for the old man, he was a full-time official and often had various tasks to handle for the brigade. If he could manage half a day's farm work, that was already quite good. However, there were many people in the family who needed food, and everyone was watching. If the secretary's family didn't have someone capable of working, they would be talked about. Moreover, now that not only the third child was an officer but also 2 had graduated from college, they had to set a good example and couldn't give the children any excuses to be criticized. So, as long as she wasn't feeling unwell, Li Yue usually worked for 7 or 8 points. When she returned to the village, She saw smoke coming from the chimney of her house and wondered if the old man had come home early to cook. Then she thought it was probably Guodong and Qin who had come back from school and were helping to boil water. Last year, Lu Fengqin had already started middle school, but there was no middle school in their village, so she had to go to the commune. She had been a day student, going with Lu Yuji to school in the morning and returning home in the evening. After Lu Xiaolan and the others got into college, Lu Xingjuan and his wife decided to let her stay in the dormitory for a more focused study when the second year started. They only brought her back home on Sundays. Otherwise, the daily commute wasted a lot of time, and with other small children at home, the study environment wasn't as good as at school. As for food, she brought her own grains and firewood, and the school had workers to help with cooking. Lu Yuji would send some stir-fried dishes every other day, so the meals were almost the same as at home, sometimes even better. After all, Lu Xingjuan and his wife had different expectations for their children now. They worried that if the kids didn't eat well, it would affect their studies. The grains they sent were mainly rice mixed with finely crushed corn, unlike the larger corn they usually ate at home. Before she even entered the yard, Li Yue heard the children calling Auntie, Auntie, and hurried inside to find Lu Xiaolan had returned. You child, didn't you say you would send a telegram for your brother to pick you up? Why did you come back by yourself? They had thought she was staying in the capital for special reasons since she hadn't sent a telegram. Mom, I'm not a little kid anymore. The bus service is good now, and I can come back by myself. Once I got to the commune, my sister-in-law was there. She brought me back, Lu Xiaolan replied. Seeing Li Yue covered in dirt, she added, Mom, the water is ready. Go wash up quickly. My sister-in-law made dinner, and we will all eat together tonight. Lu Yuji heard Li Yue was back and quickly came out, telling her to wash up first as dinner would be ready soon. Since the eldest had cooked, Li Yue wasn't in a hurry. She took her clothes and went to wash up with the hot water Lu Xiaolan had prepared. As it got dark, those who had gone to work began to return, and everyone was happy to see Lu Xiaolan back. The whole family had dinner together. After the meal, they sat in the living room chatting, and Lu Xiaolan took out the gifts she had brought back to share with everyone. For the children, there was a patterned tin pencil case, each with multiplication tables printed inside. These pencil cases were newly released in Yangcheng, and in a place like Lijiakan, the children were thrilled to receive them, even happier than when they got lucky money during the new year. For the two sisters-in-law, there was a piece of khaki fabric each for them to make clothes. For the two brothers, there were liberation shoes for each. For the three elderly people, in addition to some nutritional supplements, there was also a set of warm clothing for each. These warm clothes came from Hong Kong, lightweight, easy to wear, and warm, not available for sale in the country. They were bought from middlemen and weren't cheap. A set cost over 10 yuan, and 3 sets took more than a month's salary. Her own set was a gift from Su Mo. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to afford it since these clothes could only be worn underneath, not as outerwear. But they were indeed very comfortable and warm, so she didn't have to wear bulky clothes in winter. Li Yue looked at the thin warm clothing and asked, Xiaolan, does this really keep you warm? It hardly weighed anything. It does, Lu Xiaolan smiled. Don't be fooled by how thin it looks. It's just as warm as a sweater. Look inside. It's lined with fleece. She showed Li Yue the inside of the clothing. Wow, it really is. This thin material even has fleece. Things from Yangcheng are truly different. This isn't from Yangcheng, it came from Hong Kong. We can't buy it here. Upon hearing this, Li Yue felt the item in her hands was less appealing. You child, how can you take risks buying these things? If you get caught, you might not even be able to go to college. Lu Xiaolan waved her hand. Mom, it's not risky. Yangcheng doesn't really crack down on that anymore. The streets are full of middlemen, and you can buy things without hiding. Just call them over when you see them. The sisters-in-law in the family compound often buy things outside. They're not afraid. Unlike Yangcheng, speculation and trading in other places are still monitored, and buying still requires caution. Since the atmosphere relaxed, the variety of goods in Yangcheng increased significantly, and many items have been secretly flowing in from Hong Kong. Those products are far more exquisite and advanced than what is available domestically. As Lu Xiaolan spoke, She pulled out a palm-sized portable radio and handed it to Lu Boming. "Grandpa, this radio is a gift from my third sister-in-law. It runs on batteries, so you can listen to it anywhere. It's very convenient." Li Yue looked at the small radio and asked, "Is this also from Hong Kong?" "Yes," Lu Xiaolan nodded. "You two kids, how can you be so bold? You can't do this next time. You're college students. If someone reports you, what will happen if the school doesn't accept you?"
Li Yue disapproved.
"Yue, don't worry. The children know how to handle themselves," Lu Boming said, not feeling that it was a big deal. A more open attitude might not be a bad thing. After looking at the instructions and fiddling with it a bit, Lu Boming found that he could indeed listen to it, and the sound quality was quite good. He tried putting it in his pocket, and it didn't affect the reception at all, which was very convenient. He could take it to the field and listen while working. Since last year, when those people were controlled, the country has been actively developing radio stations, and the signal in Lijiakan has improved a lot. Now, radio programs are more varied, and many families have bought radios to listen to in their free time at night. "This thing must be expensive, right?" Lu Boming asked. "The larger ones sell for 40 to 50, so this small one must be over 100. "Not expensive. This was brought back by my third sister-in-law from Gangcheng." "Can you guess how much it cost?" Lu Xiaolan asked mysteriously. Lu Yuji, who worked at the supply and marketing cooperative, knew the prices best. After the price drop in 74, radios had been selling for 47.6 yuan each. Since Lu Xiaolan said it wasn't expensive, the price must be similar, so she tentatively said 50? "No." Lu Xiaolan shook her head and then held up 3 fingers. 3 yuan? Li Yue asked in surprise. "Mom, what are you thinking? It can't be 3 yuan. It's 30 yuan. You girl, are you out of your mind? 30 yuan is still expensive. For a radio, 30 yuan really isn't bad. Ask your sister-in-law. Those big, heavy ones sell for over 40. This one is small and portable. 30 yuan is quite cheap," Lu Xiaolan explained. "They say outsiders watch the excitement, while insiders see the details." When Lu Boming heard that this thing only cost 30 yuan, he couldn't help but frown. If this product floods the domestic market, radios made in the country might not sell at all. The country could face significant losses. He had thought that a more open attitude was not a bad thing. But if foreign products are so cheap and useful, everyone might rush to buy them, and then what would happen to our own factories? After giving out the gifts, Lu Xiaolan shared her experiences in Tang City. Previously, their understanding of the disaster in Tang City came from the radio and newspapers. But back then, the media wasn't well developed. It was not only slow but also heavily censored. So many events were only reported in general terms. They only knew the disaster was severe and that the country had sent many people for disaster relief, but they didn't know the details. Now, listening to Lu Xiaolan, Li Yue and the others had tears in their eyes. Whether from natural disasters or man-made ones, it is always the common people who suffer. Fortunately, they now have a country to rely on, so they don't have to depend solely on themselves. The country also has enough strength to provide aid and relief, preventing the people from becoming homeless. The family chatted until after 9, reluctant to end the conversation before heading to bed. With the autumn harvest underway, they needed to wake up at 5:30 for work, so they had to rest early to recharge. After lying back down, Lu Xingjuan felt that people really need to go out. Only by seeing the world can they improve. Although Xiaolan had been talkative before, she mostly talked about trivial matters. Now, when she discussed national affairs, she spoke confidently. Her perspective on issues was no longer that of an ordinary woman. Even he, her older brother, couldn't compare. Many things he understood only after she explained them. If Lu Xiaolan had stayed in Hongqi Commune, she certainly wouldn't have achieved her current level of understanding. Tomorrow, go to the school and ask for a leave of absence. While Xiaolan is home, let Fengqin attend school as a day student. She should take notes on what she doesn't understand, so her aunt can help her catch up, Lu Xingjuan said to Lu Yuji. Lu Yuji's eyes lit up at this. Sure, I'll go first thing in the morning to ask for her leave. Because she hadn't paid much attention to her studies before, Lu Fengqin's grades were quite average. While she wasn't at the bottom, she was just in the middle. If she didn't work hard in the next 3 years, she might not get into college. Now that they had a college student at home, they had to seize the opportunity to help her catch up on what she missed. Lu Xingjuan also had his own plans. He would discuss college later. For now, he needed to focus on getting her into high school. When he went to arrange accommodation for Lu Fengqin at the start of the school year, he asked the teacher, and given her current grades, getting into high school was a bit uncertain. He didn't want to pressure her to get into college, since it was very difficult. In their Hongqi commune, out of over 10,000 people, only about 20 got into college, and most of them were young intellectuals from outside. There were very few locals. The reason Xiaolan's father was so happy when she got into college was that she was the only villager from Lijiakan to achieve that. However, getting into high school was a must. As long as she completed high school, even if she didn't get into college, he could still talk to the third brother about sending Fengqin to Yangcheng to broaden her horizons. He didn't want her to end up like them, spending a lifetime in Hongqi commune with a very limited perspective. Meanwhile, Lu Weiguo was also thinking about the same issues as Lu Xingjuan. Seeing Lu Xiaolan's transformation, he realized the importance of seeing the world. He used to think that as long as he provided enough food and raised the children, and helped each of them find a wife, his job was done. But now he felt he could do more. Perhaps he should work harder to secure a better future for his children, so they wouldn't have to toil in the fields their whole lives. His younger brother was an officer, and his younger sister was a college student. Everything was possible. The next day, when the wake-up call rang out, Lu Xiaolan got up, changed into her patched old clothes, and went outside. Li Yue was squatting in the corridor brushing her teeth. When she saw Lu Xiaolan, she said, "Why are you up so early? You could sleep a bit longer." "Mom, I'll go to work with you soon," Lu Xiaolan replied, scooping up some water and squatting next to Li Yue to brush her teeth. Only then did Li Yue notice that Lu Xiaolan was wearing work clothes. She said, "You don't need to. It's rare for you to come home, so just rest. Everyone older than me is working in the fields. How can I just rest?" Lu Xiaolan replied, "I'm not saying you should do nothing. Just help out at home by cooking. They are cutting rice now, and it's tiring work. After a day of cutting, your back will hurt. You're a college student. You might not be able to handle it," Li Yue said. Lu Xiaolan laughed. "Mom, I've done this work before. If you, a woman in your 50s, can do it, why can't I, a 20-something young person? And what if I'm a college student? Does that make me too precious to work? I just got lucky and have some good brothers and sisters-in-law. Besides, going to college means I should serve my country. If I think I'm great just because I got into college and neglect my parents, then what's the point of going to college? I wouldn't even have passed the test of being a good person." Lu Boming came out of the room and nodded in satisfaction after hearing Lu Xiaolan's words. He was a bit worried that his child might become arrogant after going to college, but it seemed he was overthinking it. This child had not been taught in vain. Lu Qing'an had a good time last night and drank a bit too much, so he got up late. As soon as he stepped out, he saw Lu Boming nodding in approval. He also heard Lu Xiaolan's words and, seeing that Li Yue wanted to say something, said, "If the child has this filial heart, let her go. It will make your work easier." Li Yue didn't say anything more. If they didn't earn too many work points, the mother and daughter could finish early and return to rest. After getting ready, the mother and daughter went to the kitchen, each took 2 steamed buns, filled their water bottles, and went out, running into Lu Hohot, who was also heading over. The 3 of them went to the brigade together. Lu Hohot had changed a lot over the years. She had become quieter and less talkative. On the way, they met many people who warmly greeted Lu Xiaolan and praised Li Yue for having such a good daughter. When they arrived at the brigade, after everyone gathered, Lu Bagua briefly spoke and assigned the day's tasks. Li Yue and the team leader took on a task worth 10 work points. The mother and daughter worked together and estimated they could finish by early afternoon. She had told the family that if there was meat, they should buy some to make something delicious for Xiaolan. Since Lu Xiaolan's grain quota was no longer in Lijiakan, she couldn't earn work points even if she worked. So, Li Yue took on a bit more and put it under her name. After Lu Xiaolan picked up a sickle, she went with Li Yue to the field assigned to them. Since it had been a while since she had done farm work, she was a bit slow at first, but after about half an hour, she started to get the hang of it. The ants working in the same field noticed from a distance that Lu Xiaolan was cutting quite well. While taking a break to drink water, they gathered and whispered. Lu Xiaolan is a good girl. She's in college and still helps her mother work in the fields. Indeed, the secretary's family is well off, and all the children are successful. Lu Xiaolan, who had once been divorced, had now transformed into a college student. Exactly, with one military officer and 2 college students, everyone except Lu Hohot and Li Yue has a salary. No worker's family in the city is better off than theirs. The old secretary is very smart, and his children naturally benefit. I heard that the 3 who were exonerated from the cattle shed were high-ranking officials. The old secretary helped them, and they surely want to repay him after returning to Beijing. In the past 2 years, during the new year, the number of packages Lu Boming received had increased from 1 to 4. This had spread throughout the brigade in Lijiakan. I heard from my husband that the old secretary's subsidy has increased to this amount, one ant said in a low voice, holding up 3 fingers. Someone gasped and asked, 30 yuan? The person nodded, saying that her husband had discovered it by chance and that it had started this year. What does 30 yuan mean in the countryside? It's enough to support a whole family. That's really something. If I had known those people would be exonerated, I would have secretly sent them some grain back then. Someone sighed. I don't expect them to repay me. I just hope they take care of the kids. One ant teased. Well, you need to have some foresight. There are still 2 left in the cattle shed. Why don't you send them some grain tomorrow? Go away, I was just saying that. My family doesn't have enough grain to eat. The person laughed and scolded. How much hope is there for those still in the cattle shed? Don't waste food. After the ants finished drinking water and took a break, they scattered back to their assigned fields to cut rice. Not far away, several young wives were also gathered drinking water, occasionally glancing at Lu Xiaolan. What do you think? Lu Xiaolan hasn't done farm work for years. How can she still manage? I've taken several breaks, but she hasn't stopped at all. Someone, feeling jealous, said, she's just putting on a show. It's only the morning. Of course, she has energy. Once today's work is done, she probably won't come back tomorrow. Farm work is so tiring. Who would want to do it? That person thought Lu Xiaolan was just there to show off and gain a good reputation. After all, she had been divorced and couldn't have children. So, what if she got into college? Unless she married someone with kids, what man would want to marry her? I don't think so. Lu Xiaolan isn't the type to care about appearances, someone said. She was a former classmate of Lu Xiaolan's in elementary school and had grown up with her, so she knew her a bit. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out in a few days. Let's take a break and get back to work. I see the team leader is coming over, someone said, picking up a sickle and going back to work. Seeing that the team leader was indeed coming their way, everyone quickly scattered to work. Li Yue had been watching Lu Xiaolan all morning and was surprised that after so many years away from farm work, her daughter hadn't lost her skills. You girl, take a break and drink some water, Li Yue said. I thought you wouldn't be able to keep up, but you're not much slower than me. Lu Xiaolan smiled shyly. In truth, she was starting to feel a bit tired, but seeing her mother's age, she wanted to do a bit more so her mother could do less, so she kept pushing through. Lu Xiaolan went to drink some water and said, Mom, don't do such heavy work in the future. Let the young people handle cutting rice and you can go dry the grain. Lu Xiaolan didn't try to convince Li Yue not to work because she knew her mother wouldn't agree. Li Yue waved her hand. How can we? Our family doesn't have many people working, but there are plenty of mouths to feed. Everyone is counting on us. Our family has already split. Why worry so much? Eldest brother and second brother can manage themselves. You 3 elders should just take care of yourselves. If necessary, we can buy grain from the brigade later. Mom knows what to do. While I can still work, I'll keep at it for a few more years. When I can't anymore, I won't work, and the 4 siblings will take care of me, Li Yue said, waving her hand. Mom, my 3rd sister-in-law said that in a couple of years, when things settle down, She'll let you three elders move to Yangcheng. The climate there is better and more suitable for older people. Li Yue laughed. When the time comes, I'll go see the world, but I won't stay there. Your father is still the secretary here. Besides, I can still do some work here. What would I do there? Rely on your third brother and sister-in-law to support me?
That's not it, Mom.
My third sister-in-law told me that in a couple of years, the country might allow private businesses. She believes in your sewing skills and said that when the time comes, she will help you open a tailor shop over there to sell your clothes. Lu Xiaolan whispered to Li Yue about Sumo's plan. Mom, there are many wealthy people in Yangcheng. In the department store, coats that cost dozens to hundreds of dollars sell out quickly as long as they look good. With your skills, you won't have trouble selling your clothes. Li Yue was somewhat swayed by Lu Xiaolan's words. Although she hadn't inherited much of her father's skills, she truly enjoyed making clothes. If she had enough fabric, she believed she could regain her old skills. But if I go to Yangcheng, what will your father and grandfather do?
Who will cook for them?
That won't work. We can all go. You can open the tailor shop and we can set up a stall for Dad and Grandpa to sell buns or something, Lu Xiaolan replied. When Su Mo mentioned it, she thought of setting up a stall at the train station for them to sell food. When Lu Xiaolan returned, she had also seen that the Yangcheng train station had a huge flow of people. Even selling simple buns and eggs would likely earn a good profit. Your father has been a village secretary for so many years. He probably won't want to go. We'll talk about it later, Li Yue said. Those people were waiting for Lu Xiaolan to stop working after a day or two, hoping to see her fail, but unexpectedly, she worked for a whole week. On this Sunday, Lu Xiaolan only assigned Li Yue 8 tasks. In the afternoon, she needed to go to Lijiao to find Kaoyatu, as Su Mo had asked her to bring some school supplies for her. She also needed to visit the army to deliver some study notes to Ma Xiaowan. Ma Xiaowan ultimately decided to take the exam again next year, focusing on having and raising her baby this year. So, after the last semester, she quit her job at the brigade and is now living in the army's family compound. After lunch, Lu Xiaolan rode her bicycle to Lijiao, and Lu Fengqin accompanied her aunt. The bicycle belonged to the Lu family, and Lu Yuji let Lu Xiaolan use it while she walked to work. Aunt, is it hard to get into college? Lu Fengqin asked on the way. Recently, she had been under a lot of pressure. Her parents suddenly had high expectations for her, and she felt overwhelmed. Where there's a will, there's a way. As long as you work hard enough, it won't be difficult, Lu Xiaolan replied. You still have 3 years, so there's no rush. Just focus on building a solid foundation. For the past few days, she had been tutoring several children in the evenings. Fengqin's foundation was indeed weak. Among the children, only Guodong was doing well. Guodong was in 5th grade this year and would be starting middle school next year. At that time, the education system was still a 5-2-2 system, 5 years of elementary school, 2 years of middle school, and 2 years of high school. Lu Fengqin was really struggling. She didn't enjoy studying much. Her mother had previously told her that it was enough for girls to know how to read and write and to help out at home with her younger siblings. She had always done that. Now, suddenly being told to study hard and prepare for college felt like a burden. She just hoped that when the tests came at the end of the month, her grades wouldn't drop. Otherwise, her parents would surely scold her. After all, they not only let her stay in school, but also didn't let her do chores at home, and they made sure she had rice for every meal. Every week, they at least sent her some meat or fried eggs. Her roommates were envious, thinking her parents treated her very well. But the better her parents treated her, the more anxious she felt. Whenever the teacher mentioned tests, she panicked, fearing she would disappoint her parents. Yet, she didn't dare to tell her parents. Since her aunt was kind to her, she wanted to share her feelings with Lu Xiaolan. Aunt, do you think I could not go to college? Lu Xiaolan felt something was off and stopped the bike, preparing to have a serious talk with her niece.
Why?
Don't you want to go to college? I don't really like studying. The more I look at those books, the more it hurts my head. Fengqin, don't be nervous. You still have 3 years. Take your time, Lu Xiaolan reassured her. This girl did have a weak foundation, and being anxious wouldn't help. It seemed her older brother and sister-in-law had put a lot of pressure on her. Aunt, I also don't want to go to high school. I want to finish middle school and stop studying. Lu Xiaolan was shocked. She didn't expect Feng Qin to not want to go to high school. If you don't go to high school, what do you want to do? You're only 14 now, and next year you'll be 15. If you don't study, do you plan to work in the fields? Lu Fengqin shook her head vigorously. No, I don't want to work in the fields. I want to work. Where do you think you'll find a job? Are you expecting your mother to give her job to you? Her sister-in-law probably wouldn't agree. I want to go to Yangqing. You're going to college now, and no one will look after my younger siblings. I can help my uncle and aunt take care of them, and they will help me find a job. I don't need a good job. I just want to do what you did before, Aunt, Lu Fengqin said in one breath. Lu Xiaolan was completely stunned. She never imagined Lu Fengqin thought this way, and her expression became serious. Fengqin, who told you this? No one told me. I thought of it myself, Lu Fengqin replied. In fact, she had accidentally overheard her mother talking to her father, but her father disagreed and insisted she should continue her studies. Fengqin, your younger siblings are already big enough and don't need anyone to look after them. Even if I don't get into college, I will still be back this year. Besides, my job isn't something just anyone can do. You're still a child. How can you take care of other children? Lu Fengqin was somewhat unconvinced. I can take care of them. I've always looked after my younger siblings. That's different. A daycare not only takes care of children but also teaches them. I can teach too. Aunt, you have a middle school education, and I have a middle school education. There's no difference. Lu Xiaolan's expression darkened. It seemed this girl had changed a lot over the years. Was this what her sister-in-law meant by a rebellious phase? Fengqin, it's different. Your aunt's middle school education can lead to college, but if you don't work hard, you might not even get into high school. Then I don't want a daycare job. I can do something else. I just need a job that I can do, Lu Fengqin insisted. She really didn't want to study, and if there were other options, her parents would likely agree to let her finish middle school and stop studying. Fengqin, jobs aren't that easy to find. Many kids in the city are unemployed and have to come to our countryside as educated youth. Moreover, there are still many military families in the family compound waiting for jobs. When I went there, I didn't expect to have a job. The job was originally arranged for your third aunt by the army. She is kind and capable, so she gave it to me and went to find work elsewhere. Also, Fengqin, we can't rely on others for everything. We need to learn skills ourselves and stand on our own. Your third uncle and aunt can help you once or twice, but they can't support you for a lifetime. If you think that after finishing middle school, you won't continue studying and will just rely on family connections to get a job, then that might be the only job you have for life. But if you work hard and get into high school or even college, you will have more opportunities in the future. Isn't having a job good? You can eat well and earn money. Lu Fengqin didn't understand and felt a bit resentful, thinking her aunt seemed less caring than before. She felt that her aunt was blocking her from going to Yangqing. Her aunt only became well-regarded after going to Yangqing. Maybe if she went there, she could study and get into college too? Seeing her stubbornness, Lu Xiaolan realized that no matter what she said now, it wouldn't get through to her, so she decided not to say more. She would talk to her brother and sister-in-law later and find a chance to guide her properly. In her memory, Lu Fengqin, as the eldest grandchild, was always a sensible and hardworking child. She couldn't understand how the child had changed in the years she was away. The two of them remained silent until they reached Li Jiao. The girl was not home. On Sundays, she went to work to earn some points. This girl was 11 years old and had just started 4th grade in September. Lu Xiaolan asked a member of Li Jiao and found out where the girl was working. Despite her small size, she was doing adult-level work, cutting rice, and she was quite fast. Lu Xiaolan sighed. This child, without parents, had a tough life even with some support from the village. For comparison, Lu Fengqin was 14 and had never been asked to do heavy work at home, only light tasks like gathering pig feed, picking peanuts, and shucking corn. When the girl heard the team leader call her, She looked up and saw Lu Xiaolan, her eyes brightening as she quickly put down her sickle and ran over. Aunt Lu, you're back. Is Annie back too? Lu Xiaolan shook her head. Your third aunt isn't back. She asked me to bring you some school supplies. As she spoke, she handed over a cloth bag. It was tightly wrapped so others couldn't see what was inside. Besides notebooks and pencils, it contained a pack of milk powder, a pound of cured meat, and a pair of new cloth shoes. The shoes were a reward from Su Imo for the girl getting first place in her final exams, and Lu Xiaolan had brought them back. Last time Su Imo was home, she gave the girl her address, and now the girl occasionally wrote to Su Imo to report her grades. Despite her poor learning environment, she worked hard and consistently ranked at the top of her class, even achieving first place last semester. The girl felt a bit disappointed to hear that Su Imo wasn't back. She took the package from Lu Xiaolan and smiled sweetly, saying, "Thank you, Aunt Lu. I will write to Auntie."
Good.
Study hard, and if you need anything, just go to my house and find my mother, Lu Xiaolan said. You're still growing, so don't do such heavy work. It's okay, Auntie. I only work 1 day a week. All right, I have other places to go, so I'll leave now. Take care, and don't overwork yourself. After Lu Xiaolan left, someone nearby asked, Girl, what did researchers Su give you? It looks like a big package. In the past 2 years, thanks to Su Imo and Teacher Gu's support, and because the girl had good grades, the villagers' attitude toward her had improved. Just school supplies, the girl replied, not saying much as she placed the cloth bag in a dry spot in her field where she could keep an eye on it. Lu Fengqin was looking at bicycles by the roadside. After Lu Xiaolan returned, she rode her bike to take her further to the camp. Your third aunt is really good to Li Chunhua, Lu Fengqin remarked on the way. Your third aunt is kind and responsible. Li Chunhua has no family left, and your third aunt handled her case, so it's normal for her to take care of her, Lu Xiaolan replied. But our third aunt has never bought us so many things, and we are her nieces and nephews. This time, Lu Xiaolan was genuinely angry and said, That's because your parents are both alive. If you didn't have parents, your third aunt would care for you too. Lu Fengqin, remember, your third uncle and aunt don't owe you anything. Raising you is your parents' responsibility, not theirs. You've already split from the family. Helping is a kindness, not an obligation. Besides, have they ever sent you less than what you needed over the years? Don't think that just because they have a better life now, it's owed to you. They have a better life because they work hard. Your third uncle often goes on missions and is away for months, facing danger and getting hurt. Would you want to try getting hurt? You'd scream so loud the whole village would hear. Your third aunt works long hours too, often coming home late and studying foreign languages after work. If you had that kind of determination, your life would improve too. Let's not even talk about the past. Just look at you now. You don't have to do anything at home, just study, and you act like it's a burden. You don't want to put in any effort but envy others' lives, thinking you can take shortcuts by relying on others. It doesn't work that way. Fengqin, stop looking at others and think about what you've done. Your third aunt occasionally helps Li Chunhua because she deserves it. That girl, despite her circumstances, can still be first in her class. What about you? Don't say first. You haven't even made it into the top 10, have you? Lu Fengqin felt ashamed and frustrated after being scolded by Lu Xiaolan. She covered her face and started to cry. Lu Xiaolan ignored her, letting her think it over. This child needed to be guided, otherwise, she might go down the wrong path. After pedaling for nearly an hour, Lu Xiaolan finally arrived at the family area of the camp. After explaining the situation to the guard, they quickly notified someone, and Suma Xiaojun came out with her big belly. Xiaolan, why did you come personally? You could have just called, and I would have sent someone to get it, Ma Xiaojun said while welcoming her inside. It was quite a distance to ride a bike here, and the road wasn't easy to navigate. It's okay, my third sister-in-law said you are about to give birth, so she asked me to come see you. Since I haven't been here before, I thought I would come by, Lu Xiaolan said. Despite the camp being built for a while, she had never visited. At the door, Lu Xiaolan took a large cloth bag off the bike basket. Inside were study notes prepared by Su Mo for Ma Xiaojun, a few sets of new clothes for the baby, and 2 bags of milk powder. The clothes were imported from Hong Kong, not available in the country, called Bao Yi, which Lu Xiaolan thought looked very high-end. Although the clothes were small and didn't seem to use much fabric, each one cost 10 yuan. When Tao Peixing first met the 2 children, he gave each a red envelope with 50 yuan. Su Mo estimated they wouldn't return in the next 2 years, so she bought some things for Lu Xiaolan to bring. Ma Xiaojun, who used to teach at the village primary school and knew Lu Fengqin, noticed her following Lu Xiaolan with her head down and asked, "Fengqin, what's wrong? Why are you so quiet?" Ma Xiaojun had a good impression of her, as she usually greeted people with a smile. Lu Xiaolan waved her hand. "Don't mind her. I said a few things to her, and now she's sulking." Aunt Zhao saw someone come and greeted them before returning to her room. After sitting down in the living room, Lu Xiaolan handed the cloth bag to Ma Xiaojun. Ma Xiaojun looked at the large bag in surprise. "You brought so many study notes?" "No, there are also clothes for the baby from my 3rd sister-in-law," Lu Xiaolan replied. The study materials were heavy, and she had brought back only the selected notes. After Ma Xiaojun poured water for them, she opened the bag and admired the little clothes. "These clothes must have been brought back from abroad by Su Mo, right?" "No, they came from Hong Kong," Lu Xiaolan explained the general situation in Yangqing. "I heard Peixing say that the atmosphere in the south is better than in the north, but I didn't expect the difference to be so big," Ma Xiaojun remarked, realizing Su Mo and her family had gone to a good place. Last month, when Ma Xiaojun didn't have enough coupons to buy things, she wanted to check the black market, but Tao Peixing repeatedly warned her not to go. Yet in Yangqing, people openly made purchases. Lu Xiaolan wasn't very familiar with Ma Xiaojun, so after chatting for a while, she left. On the way back, the aunt and niece didn't speak. Once home, Lu Fengqin went to her own room, and Lu Xiaolan headed to the kitchen to prepare water and cook. Before long, Li Yue returned. Lu Xiaolan told her about Lu Fengqin's words on the way back, and Li Yue was quite surprised. That girl thinks like this? The more Li Yue thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. What does a child know? It's probably something her parents taught her. "When your elder brother comes back, I'll talk to him." In the evening, after dinner, Li Yue called Lu Xingjuan over. "Do you want to send Ye to Yangqing to live with a 3rd uncle?" Li Yue asked directly. Lu Xingjuan was taken aback. If Dia couldn't get into college, he did have such an idea. But he hadn't told anyone else. How did his mother know? Clearing his throat, Lu Xingjuan replied, "She should focus on her studies first. If she really can't get into college, I do have that thought. After all, Yangqing is a big city, and it would be good for her to spend some time with her 3rd uncle and aunt." Seeing that it wasn't the eldest wanting to send her away right after middle school, Li Yue felt relieved. "What about your wife? Does she think the same?" "Yes," Lu Xingjuan said, feeling confused. "Mom, did she say something to you?" They had agreed to let Lu Fengqin study and try to get into college. "Your wife didn't say anything. It was Dia herself who mentioned it. She doesn't want to study at all, just wants to graduate from middle school and go to Yangqing to have her 3rd uncle and aunt find her a job." "Do you think jobs are easy to find now?" "There are plenty of unemployed young people in big cities. Besides, Dia is only 15, still a child. What can she do? The 3rd uncle is busy with work, and Xiaomo is going to college. They have their own kids and parents to take care of. Who has the time to look after yours? If you can't manage her, you just want to send her off to Yangqing. How could you even think of that? I'll tell you, the 3rd family doesn't owe you anything. Even before and after the division of the family, they haven't shortchanged you. Every time they send things back, don't both families get their share?" Lu Xingjuan was taken aback by the scolding and quickly interrupted. "Mom, did you misunderstand? Even if I want Fengqin to go to the 3rd uncle, I would want her to finish high school first." "You didn't misunderstand. Your daughter said that." "What does a child know? This idea probably came from adults. Go back and ask your wife if she said something to Dia." Since the eldest family got Lu Xiaolan's job, things felt different in the past 2 years. They became very profit-oriented, calculating everything. Lu Xingjuan felt a jolt in his heart. Lu Yuji had indeed mentioned this to him, but he had rejected it, believing the child should focus on her studies. After he told her, she agreed. Could it be that she later discussed her thoughts with Fengqin? Before Lu Xingjuan could respond, Li Yue continued, "Also, do you have any objections to Xiao Imo occasionally helping that girl from Lijiao?" Lu Xingjuan felt another jolt and quickly said, "No objections, not at all. Whatever Xiao Imo wants to do, how can I, as her uncle, interfere?" He had indeed mentioned at home that he felt Xiao Imo was treating outsiders better than her own nephews and nieces, which seemed a bit unfair. Li Yue shot him a glance. It better be that way. How Xiao Imo distributes her things is none of your business. She earns her own money. Besides, the third family hasn't neglected your kids. Every holiday, don't they send things for the children? Yet you, as an uncle, have never given anything to the third family's two kids, who are now 5 years old. Lu Xingjuan was momentarily speechless. Don't tell me the third family is doing better than you. If your life is not better than theirs, there are ways to give if you have money, and ways to give if you don't. It all depends on your heart. Alright, go home and think about it. Teach your kids well, and don't lead them astray. Li Yue waved her hand, sending Lu Xingjuan away. Li Yue didn't let Lu Qing'an and Lu Boming know about this, wanting to spare the eldest some face. She would first try to persuade him, and if he still didn't change, then she would talk to them. Lu Xingjuan felt embarrassed after his conversation with Li Yue. With a dark expression, he called Lu Yuji into the room and scolded her, leaving her confused. Although she had considered similar thoughts before, after listening to Lu Xingjuan, she agreed that studying was important. After all, if the child graduated from middle school and went to Yangcheng, any future achievements would only be attributed to her uncle and aunt. If the child could continue studying and get into college, it would truly be a result of her and her husband's efforts. Since it wasn't what Lu Yuji had said, Lu Xingjuan called Lu Fengqin over. After being scolded by Lu Xiaolan in the afternoon, Lu Fengqin felt anxious. Now, seeing her parents call her over, she lowered her head and hesitated to speak. "I heard you don't want to study and plan to graduate from middle school to go to Yangcheng for a job with your uncle and aunt?" Seeing her father's serious expression, Lu Fengqin was scared but still wanted to defend herself. She quietly said, "I don't like studying. I want to work early to earn money for the family. I'm not going to discuss whether jobs are easy to find. I just want to ask you, do you think it's easy to go to Yangcheng? Your food supply is here. If you go there, you won't even have food to eat. Also, it takes 8 or 9 days to get to Yangcheng by train, and the ticket costs 40 to 50 yuan. Do you have that money? Do you know how to take the train? Can you go alone?" Lu Fengqin replied softly, "My aunt is there, and she has food. My aunt went with my uncle, and I can go with her too. Your aunt has food because your uncle applied for her to go with the army. Your aunt is your uncle's sister, so she can apply. But I've never heard of someone taking their niece with them while their parents are still alive. Your aunt went because your uncle's wife was going to Yangcheng, and she took her along. If your aunt doesn't come back for years, will you just wait at home for her? My aunt has summer vacation in college, so she can come back to get me." Lu Fengqin's voice grew quieter. Lu Xingjuan felt embarrassed hearing this. Even if he let Lu Fengqin go to Yangcheng, he planned to take her there himself. This girl was more daring than he thought, expecting her aunt to come back to pick her up. How can you be so bold? Do you think your uncle and aunt not only have to find you a job, but also come back to get you? Shouldn't your aunt just skip college and come to Yangcheng to take care of you like a little princess? Lu Xingjuan's words were harsh, and Lu Yuji lightly scolded him for being too tough. The child was growing up and deserved some respect. Sure enough, Lu Fengqin started to cry. "I'm not trying to be lazy by going to Yangcheng. I will help my uncle and aunt with housework, take care of my younger siblings, and work to send money home." Lu Xingjuan waved his hand. "Your younger siblings are already grown up and don't need you to take care of them. I don't expect you to send much money home either. I'll say this, if you want to study, we'll support you for as long as you want to study. If you don't want to study, I won't force you. But going to Yangcheng is not possible. If you don't study, you'll come back and work in the fields." Lu Fengqin's eyes widened in panic. If it were before, working in the fields would be fine. Everyone was the same. But after Lu Xiaolan and the others went to Yangcheng, they often wrote letters and sent photos back. From those descriptions and pictures, Lu Fengqin had seen the wonders of the big city and had longed to go there. She often talked about Yangcheng with her classmates and mentioned that she would eventually go there. If she stopped studying and had to return home to farm, wouldn't her classmates laugh at her? Why can my aunt go, but I can't? I'm not going for fun. I'm going to work too. Seeing that she couldn't be convinced, Lu Xingjuan raised his voice. Your aunt can go because she has good parents and siblings. Your parents can only afford to support your education. You have to accept the life you were born into. Compared to others, you're already doing well. You have enough to eat, wear warm clothes, and go to school. Don't aim too high. Learn to be content. This was the first time Lu Fengqin had been scolded so harshly by her father. She ran back to her room, crying. As the first grandchild in the family, even though she was a girl, everyone spoiled her. Lu Xingjuan usually had a good temper and rarely raised his voice with the children. This was the first time he had been so strict. Even Lu Aiqin and Lu Guoqiang in another room were scared and quietly doing their homework like quails. The next day, when Lu Fengqin went to school, she brought her food supplies, saying that commuting was too tiring and she wanted to stay at school. Su Emo had stayed at home for more than half a month. Other than attending memorial activities organized by the family compound and her former workplace, she hardly went out. Once the various units resumed normal work, Sumo planned to find someone to tear down the partition wall between the second and third floors before school started. One day, taking advantage of Lu Chongjing's day off, the family of four drove to Gaotaji. Old Mrs. Su was still cooling off at the archway. She was surprised to see a military vehicle passing by. Although this place had once been prosperous, due to the many capitalists, even when houses were borrowed by nearby factories, they were mostly given to ordinary workers, and very few could afford to drive. Su Emo asked Lu Chongjing to stop, rolled down the window, and greeted old Mrs. Su. I was wondering who it was. It's you, Xiao Su.
Yes.
This is my husband and our two sons, Su Emo introduced. Once the house was ready, they would occasionally come by, so Su Emo didn't plan to hide anything and was open about it. Be happy and call her old Mrs.
Su.
The two children obediently greeted her. Old Mrs. Su smiled and praised, a perfect match. You two look great together and your sons are lovely. Are you back because you have news about your relatives? Old Mrs. Su assumed Su Emo returned because she found someone. Not yet. Su Emo waved her hand. She had indeed asked someone to inquire about Su Yunsheng, but after so many years, there was no response yet. I'm here to clean the house today. Uncle Chen gave me his house, Su Emo said. Old Mrs. Su was taken aback, quickly realizing that Su Emo had bought the house. Who would give a house to someone they weren't related to? It was just that buying and selling wasn't allowed at the moment, so they used the excuse of a gift. This Xiao Su was quite clever. As soon as the atmosphere relaxed a bit, she made her move. Old Mrs. Su had been watching closely and was surprised that she had managed to snag a deal. Xiao Su seemed to come from a decent background. Her willingness to buy suggested she had received some news. It seemed she needed to prepare as well. Although she didn't have much money, she had hidden some items, and once she sold them at the free market, she'd have cash. Due to the presence of Hong Kong City and Macau City, certain items and things considered for olds could still fetch a good price in Yangcheng. After greeting old Mrs. Su, Su Emo directed Lu Chongjing to drive the car to the front of the building she had bought. It was the first time the three of them had come since Su Emo purchased the house. This place looks a bit messy and dirty because it was lent to the factory as staff housing and has undergone various renovations. It can't compare to the environment of the family compound. After getting out of the car, Lele frowned. He heard his mom say they bought a 3-story house and thought it would be similar to the small building where Grandpa lives. He didn't expect it to be here, looking old and dirty. Commander Su arranged a 2-story villa for him. Since he recognized the two little ones, he prepared a room for each of them, and they occasionally stay there. Su Emo took the key and opened the door to the first floor. The door was an old-fashioned folding door, and as she pushed it open, a strong smell of cooking oil hit her. Mom, this place looks so dirty. Are we moving here? Lele asked. Someone lived here before, and it wasn't cleaned well. It looks a bit dirty, but we can repaint the walls later, Suemo replied. This is for when I buy it. We probably won't move here. Suemo then took the three of them upstairs to see the second and third floors. What do you think? Suemo asked Lu Chongjing. Lu Chongjing knew Suemo bought this house for future business purposes. Although he didn't understand much about business, he noticed that all the houses in this area had storefronts. If it developed well, houses here would likely be in high demand. Even if he didn't use it, renting it out would probably bring in good money. Very good. My wife has great vision. Lu Chongjing followed the principle that whatever my wife does is right. These walls were built later. You should find someone to tear them down, Suemo said, pointing out the added walls to Lu Chongjing. After the couple left, Lele quietly said to Anin, Dad is such a flatterer. What's so good about this place? He just wants to make Mom happy. This place is actually quite good. We can open a shop downstairs and live upstairs, Anin replied. But there are no shops here. There will be in the future.
Oh.
Lele nodded, seeming to understand a bit. This must be what Mom means by future trends. Shops will likely open here later. Grandpa saying about preparing for a rainy day probably means getting ready before things happen. Otherwise, when shops open here, this house might not be available for Mom anymore. Once he understood, Lele started running up and down to explore. The many small rooms made it feel a bit like a maze. After Suemo finished discussing what to tear down with Lu Chongjing, he measured the walls, which were not thick, so he decided he could take them down himself without needing a special construction team. He then went to the public phone to call his team and asked a few soldiers to come help. In less than half an hour, a military truck arrived with about 10 soldiers. Aunt Sue watched the truck drive by with nostalgia, remembering when she could just make a call and everything would be arranged. Now, everything has to be done by herself. She wondered if she would ever see the Sue family's glory days again. Demolishing walls creates a lot of dust, so Lu Chongjing asked Suemo to take the kids out while he grabbed a tool from the truck and started working. Suemo stayed there, but she wasn't much help, so she took the kids out to explore the area, check how many buildings were returned to the original owners, and buy some food to bring back. You can't have people help without feeding them. After wandering around for a while, Suemo went to a state-run restaurant to buy some sticky rice chicken and steamed cakes for lunch. People from the South don't like buns or dumplings, so today, the state-run restaurant had these two options that were easy to take away. On the way back, Suemo saw some street vendors and decided to buy some citrus fruits, asking Anin to watch Lele while she found a corner to gather a good amount to take home. The soldiers worked efficiently. By the time Suemo and the kids returned, the walls on the second floor had already been taken down, and the bricks were neatly stacked on the first floor. Suemo quickly called them down for lunch. Seeing the delicious food she brought, everyone thanked her excitedly, then sat down on the ground and started eating. After eating, they grabbed hammers and went up to the third floor to continue demolishing walls. By the time they finished and cleaned up the debris, it was still early afternoon. Suemo had planned to invite them to her home for dinner, but the soldiers shook their heads and insisted, no need, then quickly drove away. They joked that it was rare to help the King of Hell, and they wanted him to remember them. If they accepted a meal, it might lead to tougher training later. After tearing down the walls, the layout of the second and third floors became clear. The second floor has a large living room, 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a toilet, plus a small room that was likely a kitchen but was later converted into a small bedroom. The third floor has a large room that was probably used as a warehouse for storage, along with 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and another toilet. Both floors have a decent-sized balcony for drying clothes. The couple measured the space and found that each floor has about 95 square meters of usable area. If utilized well, it could be renovated into a comfortable space, and Suemo has already started to brainstorm ideas. However, there are no renovation companies available at the moment, so she can only hire a local renovation team from the nearby community. She is unsure if they can understand the design plans. To be safe, she will need to supervise the renovation closely. But since she is about to start school, she will put the renovation plans on hold until she has more time. In the past few days, Grandma Sue has been keeping an eye out for anyone selling houses in the area. Being a long-time resident, it's easy for her to gather information. After some inquiries, she discovered that many people indeed have this thought. However, buying and selling is currently not allowed, and few can afford it. Those who need a house cannot afford it, while those who can afford it already have housing arranged by their factories or workplaces, so they don't need to buy. With this understanding, Grandma Sue went home to start preparing money. She only has a little over 1,000 yuan in cash, so she will need to sell some items to raise more. 2 days later, Grandma Sue took a few small yellow fish to a local market where she has connections to check the current prices. The yellow fish sold at the market are sent to the port city, so the gold prices follow the international gold prices closely. In 1976, international gold prices fluctuated and fell, averaging around $125 per ounce during that time. At this time, the exchange rate for the yuan to the dollar is $1 for 1.88 yuan. By domestic calculations, the gold price is about 8.2 yuan per gram. 1 ounce equals 28.35 grams. However, this 8.2 yuan is just the selling price. The buyback price is lower. The owner of the market, who is somewhat related to Grandma Sue, offered her a relatively high price. According to the current gold price, a small yellow fish sells for about 256 yuan. Each small yellow fish weighs about 31.25 grams, and he offered Grandma Sue 220 yuan each. Grandma Sue originally brought 8 fish, but decided to sell only 5 due to the low price, earning 1,100 yuan. FAZ, why is the gold price still so low? She had heard that gold prices had risen in the past 2 years. The international situation is bad, Auntie. Prices went up a bit 2 years ago, but this year they have plummeted, FAZ replied. If you're not in a hurry for money, it's better to hold on to it and sell later. Grandma Sue nodded and asked, what about other things? How are the prices now? The situation is unclear now. Check back in a while. Auntie, if you need money, I can lend you some, FAZ said, thinking she might need cash since she was selling gold. Grandma Sue waved her hand. Not in a hurry now. I'll come to you if I need it. Thank you, FAZ. Of course, you helped my mom a lot before. After returning from the market, Grandma Sue sighed. The domestic situation seems to be opening up, but the international environment is worsening. She wonders how much her remaining items will be worth in the end. On September 25th, Sue Mo, accompanied by her father, brother, and Sue Yuan, went to register at Zhongda University. Originally, Su Tingqian and Mo Yuyong were also supposed to go, but since their school registration is on the following days, they were too busy to come. Su Yuan's school starts registration in early October, but he wanted to come to Yangqing early to check things out, using the excuse of dropping Su Mo off at school. As soon as Su Mo and her group entered the campus, they caught the attention of most people. First, most students had come alone, and even if someone was with them, it was usually just one person. It was the first time many had seen such a large group. Second, all 5 looked very impressive and walked with confidence, exuding a strong presence. The upperclassmen who wanted to welcome the new students instinctively stood still, watching the group pass by, until one senior finally reacted and hurried over. "Excuse me, who is here to register?" "I am," Su Mo quickly replied. "Hello, junior. Which department are you in?" "Hello, senior. I'm in the foreign language department." "The foreign language department is over here. Please follow me." The senior intended to help carry her luggage, but noticed Su Mo had little, and the 2 strong men carrying the luggage looked much sturdier than him, so he just led the way. The registration location for the foreign language department is near the sports field. Thankfully, someone was guiding them. Otherwise, they would have had to take a long detour. After bringing Su Mo and her group to the location, the senior left to return to the entrance to welcome more new students. Su Mo handed the required documents from her admission notice to the teacher in charge of registration and paid a 5 yuan fee for handouts. Although college tuition is currently free, with the government providing meal subsidies, every university still requires a small fee for handouts, 5 yuan for undergraduates and 4 yuan for vocational students. Sue Mo isn't quite sure what the fee is for. Since it was the first day of registration and Sue Mo arrived early, and considering the foreign language department is small, there was no need to wait in line. This year, the foreign language department will offer majors in Russian, English, French, and German. Take the next couple of days to think about which language you want to study. On the first day of classes, inform your advisor, and you'll be assigned to a class then, a staff member reminded her while she was processing her paperwork. Okay. Thank you for the reminder, teacher. I'm your department head, Xiao Guangming. This is the first time our department is offering so many majors, so if you encounter any difficulties in your studies, feel free to reach out to the department, Xiao Guangming said. Previously, the foreign language department only had Russian and English majors. German and French were added this year. They had planned to add Japanese as well, but due to strong opposition, it was not offered this year, though it is expected to be added in the next couple of years. Okay, Director Xiao. At that moment, the teacher handling her paperwork finished and handed over the documents. When Director Xiao glanced at them, he was surprised and said, "You are Sue Mo."
Yes, somos Mail.
Nice to meet you. Xiao Guangming shook her hand. The top science student from Guangdong Province, head of the translation department at the Foreign Trade Center, an impressive talent. Xiao Guangming handed the documents back to Sue Mo and directed her to the side, "Go over there to register and pick up your dormitory key." Sue Mo did not plan to stay in the dormitory, as the family housing is not too far from the school, about a 40-minute bike ride. If she could get a dorm room, she would use it for a nap during the day. If not, that was fine too. She was thinking about how to approach the department leaders when she unexpectedly found them there, so she quickly mentioned it to avoid disrupting the school's arrangements. "Director Xiao, my home is not far from the school, and my children are still young and need me. I would like to apply for a day student status and not stay in the dormitory at night. What is the procedure for this? I'm fine whether or not I get a dorm room,"
Sue Mo said.
"If there is no bed available, she can just take a nap in the classroom." Seeing Sue Mo mention them, Lele quickly pulled Ainen forward, each leaning against Sue Mo's legs, blinking at Director Xiao with a look that said they couldn't be away from their mom. The two children looked adorable, and their innocent expressions instantly charmed Director Xiao. When Sue Mo saw the two children come over, she introduced them. "These are my kids." Then she introduced Lu Chongjing and Sue Yuan. "This is my husband and my brother." Without needing Sue Mo to prompt them, the two kids cheerfully greeted, "Hello, Director." Lu Chongjing and Sue Yuan also stepped forward to greet him. Director Xiao had specifically looked into Sue Mo's background and file. However, the photo in her file was quite distorted, and since Sue Mo doesn't look like someone who has given birth, he didn't recognize her. He had heard that Sue Mo's husband is a high-ranking officer in the Yangcheng military region. Now that he sees them, it's clear they have a strong presence. Director Xiao shook hands with the two adults and complimented the children before saying to Sue Mo, "Let's proceed with the normal registration. The school has prepared enough accommodations for new students, and you will still be assigned a bed. Even if you don't stay at night, you can rest during the day. Moreover, sometimes the school has evening classes, and if they finish late, you can stay overnight." Sue Mo thanked the staff and registered to receive her dormitory key. She was assigned to Building 3, Room 403. After asking a senior student how to get there, Sue Mo and her group went on their own without needing assistance. Building 3 was a new dormitory built after the founding of the country. It wasn't very old, with 6 floors, 12 rooms on each floor, and 8 people in each room. However, at this time, the dormitories did not have private bathrooms or showers. They were all shared on each floor. The bathroom was on the left, and the toilet was on the right. If a dormitory was close to the toilet, it could be quite unpleasant, especially in the summer when the smell was stronger. Room 403 was in a good location, near the bathroom but also shielded by rooms 01 and 02 in front, so it was less likely to be disturbed by late-night showers. Sue Mo arrived early, and the dormitory was still empty. She opened the door to find that the room wasn't very big. There were 2 iron bunk beds on each side and 4 long desks in the middle. Near the door, there were 4 cubbies for luggage on each side. Other than that, there wasn't much else. Dormitories from the 70s and 80s looked somewhat like this. Although it was simple, it was kept clean. Since Su Mo didn't plan to stay often, she chose a top bunk near the door and left the better spot by the window for someone who would stay longer. After selecting her spot, Lu Chongjing took a basin to fetch water to clean her bed, while Su Yuan took the two younger ones to explore outside. After their walk, Su Yuan decided he wanted to be a day student like his sister. He noticed that there were nearly 100 people living on their floor, but only 6 toilets and 6 bathrooms. If he stayed there, he would have to wait a long time to use the bathroom or shower. New dormitories at prestigious schools were like this. His college probably had it worse. Since they had a house, it would be more convenient to live outside. Once the bed was dry, Su Mo spread out the bamboo mat and thin blanket she brought and put her daily necessities in the top cubby. She left a note on the bed saying she would go home and come back on the morning of the first day of school. After finishing, Su Mo went to report her day student status to the dorm manager. Then, the group drove to the state-owned hotel for a nice meal to celebrate Su Mo and Su Yuan starting school. After dinner, Lu Chongjing took the two younger ones back to the army, while Su Mo and Su Yuan went to tidy up the house. Su Zhongli left 3 properties for Su Tingda, 2 in Xiguan and 1 on Beijing Road. The Xiguan property is a large house, while the one on Beijing Road is a 4-story arcade. Su Tingda once took Su Mo to see the large house when he came to Yangqing for a meeting. They entered the large house, but only glanced at the arcade since it was crowded and didn't go inside. Su Yuan's school happened to be close to Beijing Road, so the siblings planned to clean out the second floor of the arcade for him to live in. They went to school to get a spare key from Su Tingqian and hurried over. They didn't know what was inside. If it was just an empty shell, they would need to buy a lot of things. Since school hadn't started yet, Su Yuan wanted to buy everything quickly. As soon as they opened the door, a cloud of dust hit them, making them cough. Su Yuan looked at the thin layer of dust on the floor and complained, "Didn't Dad hire someone to clean every couple of years? This dust looks like it hasn't been cleaned in at least 10 years. Humph. I need to tell Mom that Dad is pocketing the money." Su Tingda often asked Fu Manhua for money to clean the house. "This is by the road, so it's dusty," Su Mo defended Su Tingda. If the second brother called home complaining, he would surely get scolded by Uncle. Su Yuan had come early because Uncle had already called to ask him to keep an eye on the second brother to prevent him from slacking off and getting into trouble. Su Yuan pointed out, "The door is closed. How could there be so much dust?" The first floor was a shop, and besides the dust, there was nothing else. The siblings went up to the second floor, which was also empty, as were the third and fourth floors. "Little sister, do you think someone stole everything?" Su Yuan was confused. It was hard to believe there was nothing. "Who knows? I'll call Uncle in the evening. After all, the house in Xiguan had furniture." Su Yuan grimaced, realizing that if they moved in, furnishing it would cost a lot. Luckily, he hadn't spent much money over the years and had some savings. Seeing that there were faucets on the second and third floors, he turned one on and found it worked fine, which relieved him. If there was no water, he would have to report it for installation, and then he wouldn't move in. Su Yuan sprinkled some water on the floor, and the siblings covered their mouths and noses with handkerchiefs as they started cleaning. They worked hard all afternoon, getting dusty, and finally managed to clean the first and second floors. On the way back, Su Mo told Su Yuan, "Second brother, I bought an arcade on Gaudi Street nearby, but it's 3 stories. Next time, I'll take you to see it." Su Yuan wanted to say they already had a house, so why buy another, but then thought that since his sister was so smart, she must have her reasons. He changed his mind and asked, "Did you hear some news? I heard someone say that if private businesses are really allowed, this area might develop into a commercial street again." "Really?" Su Yuan's eyes lit up. "How credible is that?" "At least 60 to 70%. Second brother, keep an eye out for me. If anyone wants to sell a shop, let me know. I want to buy a few more." "Sure, I'll keep an eye on it. By the way, how much did you pay for that arcade?" Su Yuan calculated that if he had enough money, he could buy one too. 3,000 yuan. Su Yuan's face fell instantly. His total savings were only a little over 2,000 yuan, so it seemed he couldn't afford it. However, he thought he could look for other business opportunities and earn money to buy later. That evening, after dinner, Su Yun called home to ask about the arcade. It turned out that there had originally been furniture there, but during the movement, the door was smashed by someone. By the time Su Tingda found out, everything inside had been moved out. The situation was chaotic at the time, and there was no way to trace it. Su Tingda could only accept his bad luck, fix the door, and pay someone to keep an eye on it and notify him if anything happened. At first, Su Tingda thought the siblings were just going to check it out. When he learned that Su Yun was going to live there, he scolded him for wanting to avoid living on campus and slacking off. Su Yun felt nervous and quickly hung up the phone. The next day, Su Mo accompanied Su Yun to the furniture market to buy furniture. As a single man, Su Yun didn't have many requirements. He just needed the basics to be livable. After browsing around, Su Yun bought a bed, wardrobe, desk, and 2 wooden chairs. He didn't buy the cheapest for things he would use long-term, opting for mid-range items. The bed cost 54 yuan, the wardrobe 64.8 yuan, the desk 34.2 yuan, and the 2 chairs 24 yuan. Although it didn't seem like he bought much, it added up to 177 yuan. Then, he bought a bicycle for 158 yuan. Adding in the basic daily necessities like a basin, enamel jug, and thermos, he spent over 30 yuan. By the end of the day, he had spent over 300 yuan. Su Yun felt a pang of regret. He realized how expensive living was. That day, he spent 4 months' worth of salary. Looking at the furniture, he considered the possibility of asking his dad for reimbursement. But then he thought better of it, fearing his dad would come to Yangqing to scold him. After settling in, Su Yun stayed there that night and didn't return to the family compound with Su Mo. This area was close to the train station and near the convention center, with many free markets and street vendors. Su Yun planned to familiarize himself with the area before school started. On September 27th, Su Mo woke up early and asked Lu Chongjing to cook breakfast for the 2 kids while she rode her bike to school. Since she wasn't staying in the dorm, she didn't know if there were any new announcements from the school yesterday. She wanted to get there early to ask her roommates. When Su Mo arrived at school, it was still before 7 o'clock, just in time for breakfast. Groups of students were heading to the cafeteria. Su Mo hurried to the dormitory and ran into her 7 roommates heading out for breakfast. They were surprised to see her. "Hello everyone, I'm Su Mo," she introduced herself and pointed to her bed. "That's my bed sure enough." Not long after, Xiao Guangming called Su Mo to speak. Since the director valued her opinion, Su Mo didn't want to disappoint him. She shared her thoughts based on her experience at the Foreign Trade Center, mentioning the advantages of major languages and the benefits of less common languages. At the end of the meeting, it was time to choose majors. Most people chose English and Russian, while very few opted for German and French. Su Mo felt comfortable with English and didn't plan to invest more effort in learning it. Russian seemed less useful in the future, so she chose to major in German and minor in French. As for Russian, she might consider it if she had the energy. After the classes were divided by major, there were only 13 students majoring in German, and Su Mo was the only girl.
Shuma. Wow.
Being the only girl in the class felt like a huge responsibility, and she couldn't afford to skip classes. After Su Mo started her classes, Lu Xiaolan from Lu Family Village prepared to report to school in Harbin. Thinking her parents had never been outside of Shuangshan, she wanted them to accompany her to Harbin for the registration and to explore the city for a couple of days. Her father, Lu Qing'an, was happy to go, but he thought it wouldn't be right for just the 2 of them to go, so he decided to bring along Uncle Lu Boming. Li Yue also wanted to go, but since the autumn harvest wasn't finished, she felt it wouldn't be good for the whole family to leave. She decided to stay behind and let Lu Qing'an take their daughter. The night before they left, Li Yue went to Lu Xiaolan's room and gave her 100 yuan. "Take this money. When you get to school, don't hesitate to spend it on food. Studying is tough, and you need to keep your energy up." "Mom, I don't need it. I have my own money," Lu Xiaolan replied. "Besides, I get a subsidy from the government for university, 18 yuan a month." Lu Xiaolan's job at the nursery wasn't a formal position, so she couldn't enjoy the benefits of paid schooling and relied on the government subsidy. Everything costs money in big cities. I asked your third sister-in-law, and after meals, that 18 yuan doesn't leave you with much. You'll need money for paper and pens in university. I still don't need it. I saved some money before. How much can you save? You only earn 30 yuan a month and send 10 yuan home. After buying things and taking a flight last time, how much do you think you have left? Li Yue knew how much Lu Xiaolan earned. She calculated that her daughter probably hadn't saved much in 3 years in Yangcheng. I haven't saved much, but I didn't spend the money I took with me. I'm fine for now. When Lu Xiaolan got divorced, she brought back over 300 yuan and sold her work for another 400 yuan. Although she left 200 yuan for her parents, the remaining 500 yuan went to Yangcheng, and she hadn't spent any of it. After returning, she deposited 400 yuan in the bank to avoid losing it at school. Mom, I have enough money. I really don't need it. If I carry too much, what if I lose it on the way? I'll sew it into your clothes so you won't lose it, Li Yue insisted. You need to take it. You're alone out there now, without your third brother and sister-in-law. What if you need money urgently? Just take it. It's better to be prepared. Don't make yourself uncomfortable at school. Besides, this money is from you. The mother and daughter each had their own opinions, but in the end, they compromised. Lu Xiaolan accepted 50 yuan, and Li Yue sewed a hidden pocket into her pants to keep it safe. After Li Yue left, Lu Yuji came by and gave Lu Xiaolan 20 yuan. Xiaolan, take this 20 yuan. Eat well at school and don't be stingy, Lu Yuji said. With a monthly salary of only 24 yuan, giving 20 yuan was a generous gesture. Lu Xiaolan waved her hand. Sister-in-law, I don't need it. The school provides subsidies. You and brother have 3 kids to support. Keep the money.
Take it.
Everything costs money out there. Even though your brother and I don't have much, we can manage this 20 yuan, Lu Yuji said, insisting on giving it to her. When Lu Xiaolan tried to refuse again, Lu Yuji pressed her hand down and said, Xiaolan, your brother and I haven't been able to contribute much to the family.
He feels guilty about it.
Now that you're going to university, he wants to help. If you don't take it, he might feel bad. Your sister-in-law knows you might not need this 20 yuan, but it's a gesture from us. You must accept it. With Lu Yuji saying that, Lu Xiaolan couldn't refuse anymore. Okay, I'll take it. Thank you, brother and sister-in-law. Lu Yuji chatted with Lu Xiaolan for a while before leaving. When Lu Hohot saw Lu Yuji return, she discussed it with Lu Weigua and took 20 yuan to Lu Xiaolan. Lu Weigua was promoted last year to a team leader, and his salary increased from 28 yuan to 32 yuan. Both families had similar monthly incomes. However, Lu Xingjuan received a bonus at the end of the year, so the first family earned a bit more overall. But the first family had one more child, making the numbers quite close. Since she received money from her older brother and sister-in-law, Lu Xiaolan didn't refuse the gifts from her second brother and sister-in-law. She thanked them and accepted the money to avoid seeming like she had a preference. On the morning of October 1st, Lu Boming and Lu Qing'an took a military transport truck to Shuangshan City to help Lu Xiaolan register at university. When the transport truck arrived at the brigade headquarters, many people came to see her off. After all, she was the first college student from the village, and some even gave her red envelopes. Lu Xiaolan was very surprised and didn't know if she should accept them. When she saw Lu Boming nodding at her, she thanked them and accepted the envelopes. After the truck left, Lu Boming said to Lu Xiaolan, "Remember those who gave you red envelopes. If you can help them in the future, do so." Lu Xiaolan nodded. It took nearly 3 hours to drive from Lijiakan to Shuangshan City. Sitting in the back seat with nothing to do, Lu Xiaolan thought about Lu Boming's words and secretly opened the red envelopes. Inside the envelopes were names written on them, most containing 1 or 2 yuan. The brigade leaders gave 5 yuan, and one large red envelope from Lu Baogua, on behalf of the brigade, contained 20 yuan. Lu Xiaolan wrote everything down in a notebook. Including the 20 yuan from the brigade, she received a total of 52 yuan in red envelopes. She felt like she was going to school with the blessings of the whole village. Lu Xiaolan's eyes became slightly moist. Although the villagers often had small disputes, they came together when it mattered. This reminded her of her time in Tang City, when everyone worked together, showing their unity. When they arrived at the train station, it was already noon, and they could only buy tickets for the 3 p.m. train. The journey from Shuangshan City to Harbin took 8 to 9 hours, so Lu Xiaolan didn't want Lu Boming to get too tired and hoped to buy sleeper tickets. With Lu Boming's veteran disability certificate and Lu Xiaolan's admission notice, they easily bought 3 hard sleeper tickets. The 3 of them ate boiled eggs and dumplings that Li Yue had prepared, and after the station announcement, they boarded the train. Once seated, Lu Xiaolan took an enamel cup to get hot water for Lu Boming and unexpectedly ran into an acquaintance. "Secretary Geng, are you also going to Harbin? My grandpa and dad are accompanying me to register at university, and they are in the front carriage," Lu Xiaolan said excitedly, pointing the way to Geng Chongqing. Geng Chongqing was surprised to see them and followed Lu Xiaolan's directions to greet Lu Boming and Lu Qing'an. "Secretary Geng, are you going to Harbin for work?" Lu Qing'an hadn't seen Geng Chongqing in over a year. Geng Chongqing waved his hand. "No, I'm going to Jing City. I've been transferred there." It seemed like a temporary transfer, as the country was making big moves in the south, and he would likely go to Guangdong province later. But those details weren't finalized yet.
Ah?
Lu Qing'an was shocked and felt a bit reluctant. Secretary Geng was a rare, capable official who cared for the people. It was hard to find someone like him, and he hoped he wouldn't be replaced by someone less competent. Since Geng Chongqing ran into acquaintances, he didn't return to his seat but stayed to chat with them. With conversation, time passed quickly,